Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And tonight we're going to be continuing the conversation that we started yesterday. So if you guys were on my live yesterday, we started talking about what's consensual, what's non-consensual, and I talked to you guys what sparked that conversation. So I presented two different scenarios as to what started this conversation. There was situation one where there was a guy who talked about, him asking for permission to eat a girl's box, her saying yes, and then later going on Twitter saying that he assaulted her. Then we had situation B where he talked about a young lady coming to his house one night, then coming back another night, then coming back another night. And then the final night, he was like, this is the night that I want to get it, boom, boom, bam. And after the situation happened, he felt like, well, why isn't she answering my calls? What's going on? What's the dealio? And things like that. So I'm going to, and I have my special guest here. I don't know if I'm ashy or not, because it is what it is. If y'all see some ashy elbows, it is what it is. I didn't even have time to do none of that yet, but I'm going to show you guys what sparked this conversation, like I said, and then I'm going to have him come on because he's going to explain exactly what he meant by it. He wrote to me in a DM, and his response was basically that the reason for him doing the video was not in the purpose of asking if he raped or not raped. But I'm going to show you guys the video first, and then I'm going to bring him on after that to explain a little bit further in detail about the situation. But those of you guys who, like I said, missed this, let me give you guys a recap of what we went over and what sparked this conversation. So I posted this on my Instagram, and let me make sure you guys can see what I see. Okay. So I posted this message on my Instagram, and I said, let's talk about the blurred lines in consensual sex. I have two different scenarios, which are situation A and B. I want to know which is consensual and which is not, or both. Send me a voice note in my DM on how you feel and if this has ever happened to you. So I showed situation A, and then I'm going to show you situation B, who we have with us here tonight to talk about this conversation. So let me play it for you guys so you guys can hear it and you guys decide.
I want to talk about a topic today that's rarely ever talked about and rarely even recognized. And I'm going to do so by telling you a story. Back in like 2002, I met this sister, beautiful sister. And at that era of my life, all I wanted to do was have sex with women. So she came over my house one night, didn't give it up. Came over my house the second night, didn't give it up. The third night she's coming over, I said, look, man, I'm going to get this box however I got to get it. So when she get there, I'm badgering her and I'm badgering her. And I'm pulling on her panties and I'm doing what some men do when they're trying to be aggressive to have sex with a woman or get her to say yes. And I'll never forget her response. She was like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay. And I didn't think twice about it until she didn't answer my phone calls after that. I'm like, damn, why didn't she answer my phone calls? And then I remember her response and I asked myself, did I rape her? And I was talking to a friend of mine last night and she was talking about how this has happened to her multiple times and to some women that she knew where men are so aggressive that the women feel like they're going to be raped. So in order to protect themselves from being raped, they consent to a sex that they don't even want to have, which is why I'm calling it consensual rape. Yes, the women said yes, but they only said yes out of fear. So as men, I understand there's times where we feel like no may mean yes, but we got to take the first no as a no. We can't be so bent on sexually abusing our women that we badger them to the point where they feel like they're going to rape or that we're going to rape them, so they just give it up. And to the sister this happened to with me years ago, if you're watching, I apologize. I did not know what it was I really was doing at that time, but now that I'm conscious of it, I have to speak out. And ladies, if this has happened to you, you need to speak out and speak loud because our women need to be protected.
Okay, so that is the video that sparked the conversation and, brought forth a lot of dialogue. So I want to bring you on. Hi, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Okay. So just give me your response as to what you said, the reason why you made the video and so on.
Well, one thing, a lot of times when people see a 1 or 2 minute video, they rush to judgment, not even knowing who the person is. Again, in that video, I'm talking about something that happened in like 2001, totally different era of my life. But understand who I am now. I'm an author whose work is all around repair. It's all around mental, emotional, spiritual, financial repair for Black people spread across the diaspora because of all of the traumas that we've dealt with. So oftentimes, I put myself on the altar. I put myself out there using my wrongs as a means of teaching so we can bring about healing. And that's why I was saying to you, I didn't do the video to ask, was it rape or not? A lot of times when I'm doing work, when people I know are doing work centered around healing, a lot of people don't want healing. They just want somebody to be mad at. So now they want to, is you right? Is he wrong? It's like, that wasn't even my intent for the video. As you see at the end of the video, I'm explaining my intent. I want men to understand because, all right, let's back up. So the reason I made the video, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I talked about it in the video, and she was telling me about a time or two where men were being so aggressive, she thought that she was going to be raped, so she just said yes. So it made me just go through my life like, have I ever done anything like that? And I remember the incident in 2001. Now, that woman never came up and said I raped her or anything like that. That was just me doing introspection. And so when she said that, she was telling me she had quite a few girlfriends who had the same experience. So I took the Instagram to put myself out there, put my situation out there so we can have dialogue, particularly coming from a man talking about this, so we can get other men to see how some of the things that we do, I'm a 250-pound, 5'10" Black man. What might not be fearful to me can be fearful to a lot smaller woman. So for us to recognize when we're doing things that might unintentionally, because it was not my intention to scare her into sex, but I can unintentionally do that. And I wanted men to recognize when we could be doing some things that are potentially invoking fear in our women in order to have sex with them. So that was my intent, to speak to the men and tell us that there's some things that we need to tone down.
Okay. And when I seen it, it was sent to me actually by my friend Dominique. And my friend Dominique was like, well, what do you think about this? Because I think World Star had reposted it and then they had like end up taking it down or something like that.
It's a very old video. You see, I don't have no beard in anything. When the video when I posted it had over 3 million views on my Facebook page. So I had a lot of dialogue around it probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, well, World Star recently reposted it and then deleted it. And then my friend sent it to me and I'm like, well, the video's not there. So then he searched your page and then that's how I was able to find the video. And then in finding your video, I seen another video that was talking about this situation. And I'm like, this is an interesting topic because this is something that we really don't talk about that much. It's not really one of the things that you think are so complex, but after you open up the dialogue, you realize that it's very much more complex than what meets the eye. So what I wanted to do is let people understand what you're saying and also get their input on their own situations as well so that they can in turn let me know how they feel about it, what they feel like it was. Because just because you felt like, well, did I rape her or was it consensual? What was it? I wanted other people's interpretation on what they saw about it.
But and again, so I don't really deal with right and wrong. So I'm not here trying to justify my actions, nor am I here to condemn myself, nor is that the reason why I did the video. And I think we fail to heal. I think we fail to have proper dialogue when we're trying to figure out who did right and who did wrong, as opposed to just looking at all of the nuances in the situation and then saying, all right, how do we have conversations and dialogue about preventing this? Because just saying who's right and who's wrong, you're going to have 50-50. You're going to have some people saying it's right, some people saying it's wrong, a lot of women saying it's wrong, a lot of men saying it's right. I know I had a lot of men that were mad at me. Like, man, she said, yes, it ain't no way that you raped her. And I'm like, I'm not talking about the legality of rape. I'm talking about the morality of how we are making our own women feel. So again,
putting that out there is kind of, you know, getting people's insight on whether they feel like it's right or wrong and making them look deeper into themselves to figure out if they're doing something that's right or wrong. That kind of what you kind of get out of it, because you want people to realize their actions may not be moving in the right direction. So if you want people to realize that maybe you're too aggressive, they have to look into themselves and be like, well, maybe I'm not doing like the right thing. So I think it kind of does equate to a right or wrong type of situation.
I disagree, because I think there are things that can not be wrong that you should not have done all at the same time. That's why it's very nuanced. Because if I don't know that I'm making you uncomfortable and you haven't expressed that I'm making you uncomfortable, how can you just totally condemn me? How can you just totally say I'm wrong? But then in introspection, how can I say I'm right if I find out later on that you did feel like you were uncomfortable? So to me, it's not as cut and dry as is he right or is he wrong? Is she right or is she wrong? Let's have conversations about how we can prevent this from happening. That's my thing, because I don't feel like you can call me right or wrong.
But I feel like in having this conversation, you have to go over what's right and what's wrong to do.
I disagree.
I feel like we circle back to the same thing. But
I'm saying I disagree. I think we have to get out of the mindset of right or wrong. Because when you're dealing with right or wrong and making it so cut and dry and so black and white, you're not dealing with any of the nuances. And that's what we have to deal with. We have to deal with all of the nuances to create safer spaces. Just saying you're right or wrong, or because everybody's not going to agree with who says right or wrong. But if we can just talk about, all right, well, this is what we need to do to prevent this from happening, then we can agree on that. But trying to agree on right or wrong is not going to happen.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that they have in the comments.
Shoot.
One question is from D Love. She says, does he think that she thought that he was going to rape her?
I honestly do not know. She never said anything to me. I just recall the way that she asked me, do you really want to do this? And in the moment, I'm just like, yeah. But then afterwards, I thought about it. And then when I went on with life, because I never talked to her again. But then a friend of mine talked about a situation, and I just said that happened to her and some of her friends. And I took it upon myself to say, all right, I want to have a dialogue so we can prevent this from happening. So I have no idea how she felt at all. Absolutely.
So she never ever answered your phone calls ever again?
No.
Okay. Somebody said, wasn't he the guy that went viral for talking about Black women wearing weaves, etc.?
Probably. I've had a lot of conversations.
Okay. Someone says, I guess they meant, if someone sleeps with you while you're drunk, is that rape?
Are they drunk too? Again, it's so many nuances. So when we're just trying to identify what's right or wrong, we're always going to be spinning our wheels. So like I try my best not to deal with right or wrong. That's just not the area that I like to operate in, because people are never going to agree on that. But if we set some standards of proper behaviors and proper etiquette, then we can get people on board with that. But trying to identify right or wrong, in my opinion, it's just never going to happen because people are not going to agree.
Well, I guess that's something that we're going to have to agree to disagree on, because, I mean, you can clearly be right and wrong about things. Like, if you are a person who goes into a bar and starts shooting it up, you're wrong. Like, that's wrong. Like, there are
we're talking
wrongs.
We're talking about a different situation. Now, if you're
but I'm just saying there are right and wrongs with dealing in.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Yes, there are some right and wrongs, but there are a lot of things that are very nuanced.
That's true, and we can talk about those things, but you can't say that.
You're
entitled to say that, but I just disagree with saying that.
Certain things are just over the moon wrong. We're not talking about that. We're talking about things where things aren't clear. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about just walking up and blowing somebody's brains out. Of course we know that's wrong. What I'm talking about is the things that are nuanced, such as this right here. We can't really operate in a right or wrong because in total introspection, I do not feel like I can call myself wrong, but I do not feel like I can call myself right either.
Okay. Dominique, is there any questions that you have?
You gotta turn your mic on. He muted. There you go.
No, I do agree with you. There'll never be agreement on right and wrong.
You breaking up real bad, bro. I can't hear you.
There'll never be an agreement on right and wrong.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, let me hold on. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is there something we can do to fix his mic?
Yeah. Give me 1 second, bro. Give me like 5 seconds. Let me put my Bluetooth in. Hold on.
I can hear him. I'm not sure why it's not coming through on your end. I can hear you. I can hear Dominique, but I don't know why you can't hear him. So someone said, how long has this been? He said that he was reflecting on a situation.
It's me, because I can't even hear you right now. Can you hear me clear?
I can hear you.
But it's like popping when I listen to you.
All right, can you hear me?
Then, because I can hear him.
Put some earphones. All right, hold on, let me put some earphones.
Can you hear me better?
I could hear you the first time. Oops, damn it.
Say something again so I sound a little clear.
All right. Hello, clear?
Yeah, you're clear now, yeah.
Okay. No, I was saying I agree that there'll never be an agreement on right and wrong because people's morals are different. But if you do set boundaries, then maybe we can agree upon that. Because I mean, for an example, segregation. Segregation was morally wrong, but it was right in America's eyes or whatever. Yeah. So legally, yeah. But yeah, so we never agree on that. But I do agree that dudes, we do need to settle down on being aggressive with women as well, and we need to start protecting our women more, especially Black women.
Yes.
But
okay, but Dominique,
no, I don't.
Your
everything you said.
You said that you felt like it was kind of like rape what he did in that scenario.
No, it was consent. No, I say he definitely violated her, but she did give consent. So I'm not going to say he raped, but it was definitely a violation. Just like my man that was being aggressive with her and like aggressively coercing. I don't know if you seen the video yesterday. What's your name, sir?
Obama Dene. What, the other brother that she posted?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did
yes, I saw his video. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying both of you guys both of them were a violation of the woman. And when I kept reviewing the first guy, I was saying his situation sounded just like your situation did. And both you guys violated the woman, being aggressive, continuously being aggressive and pulling on her clothes. Who's to say that the first situation he wasn't being aggressive
Doing the same thing
towards the woman as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we definitely need to.
So my thing
better
again with so many, and like you said, blurred lines. It's like, so who and who defines and what is the line between persuasion and coercion? That's what I'm saying. These things it's so nuanced that none of us will have the answer. Like, well, you can go this far and that's just persuasion, but once you go here, now you coerced her. Where is that line, and who sets that line?
I feel like it is all. I feel like obviously that's going to be on an individual basis. I don't feel like that. Like there's going to be a line in the sand, because as for me, I'm a woman who, if I'm actually involved with somebody sexually, I don't mind if I am asleep, them waking me up to sex. However, a woman who is molested as a child or been sexually, raped or something like that, those types of women are triggered because their abuser had done that to them, and that triggers something. So I feel like the line in the sand, you have to communicate that with your partner, because your partner is going to know that line, and that's going to be on an individual basis. So it's not going to be clear to everybody, but individually on who you're dealing with, that line should be clear with the person who you're involved with.
So now this is my point. So if the line in the sand moves all of the time, how can somebody call somebody right or wrong?
Effectively talk about it with that person. That's what
but we're not going to act like people don't have sex without being in relationships.
Right.
But you don't communicate before.
That's why I say but that's why I say body language. We need to start reading body language, because a woman can say, if a woman is saying yes, but her body language isn't portraying that yes that she's saying, then we have to read that and not go with our hormones and continue on being sexually aggressive towards the woman. We have to start reading body language as well.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Key.
Infinity, what's your take?
I think the line between the two is simply decision.
So I can't hear him.
Can anybody else hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Every time somebody new come on, it's popping in my ears. I don't know why.
I don't know, but
Derek, I hear you now, bro. I hear you.
Yeah, I think it's all about decision. Like if you go to somebody's house and you know the person, and it could be about a date or something. Like you got a date or y'all gonna watch movies. It's about going there to watch the movie or going there for dinner. But if you go over there and your mind is, before you went there, like you could be driving in your car and you like, I'm gonna get some sex tonight. This gotta go down. Now, women don't think like men. First of all, like
some do. We ain't gonna just make that blanket statement.
No, this is what I'm saying. We gotta be real about this. We are men. A woman is not about to over dominate us.
I wonder if y'all could turn y'all thing sideways. Y'all camera.
Like this?
Oh, since you guys started that way.
Hold on.
No.
Oh, yeah.
My stand acting up.
Yeah, it looks better that way.
Yeah, my stand is acting up, so I'm a little crooked.
Are you good?
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I'm saying a woman is not going to over dominate us anyways. And then before making a move, it has to be consent. I think, were you talking about consent, Nick?
We were talking about his video where he said that he went and he was determined to get the box that night. And then afterwards, he felt like, did he do something wrong?
At the top.
Yeah.
Well, what I heard him say is he was
If you
like,
felt like you done something wrong, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you good. What I heard him say is he was like, I'm going to smash, basically. Like, it wasn't like, that's not like a romantic thing.
Yeah, but that was not me saying I'm going over there to rape her.
No, I didn't say rape.
Okay, all right.
I didn't say rape.
Just be clear about that.
But I'm saying what you think in your mind, you put that already out there. She could have just been coming to you for you, but you eyesighted her already before she got there, and then when she got there, it was like, in your mind, you like, I'm about to control this situation. So now, if she let you
I hate her.
have sex with her, then that's not rape. But I'm saying if you got the intention in your mind to be overly aggressive, that is a different self-control. I agree. Men should be more welcoming to a woman, but at the same time, that all plays a part in getting to know somebody. That's how I feel about it.
Again, I'm not in any way trying to justify the behavior. That's no,
I'm not judging.
You know what I'm saying? That's not my point. I want to deal with all of the nuances. So we also have to deal with, if you're uncomfortable, say you're uncomfortable. There's so much that we have to talk about that we typically can't talk about the woman's accountability, because if we do, then we're victim blaming.
Can I ask you a question though?
Shoot it.
Right.
At what point should a woman say, I'm bothered?
The moment she's bothered.
I mean, but
I think that's broad too, though, bro. So women can be something can trigger her to, maybe she had past relationships where she was abused physically. If she told a guy no or something like that, like she could be or your size, just she's already intimidated by your size as well. So she not going. She might think she's already intimidated by you, so she won't say no necessarily or strong or aggressively as you think or you want her to.
But
and maybe she don't have her own car. We got to put a lot of things in perspective. Maybe she came with you. She's in your apartment. You drove her there. She don't have a ride home or nothing like that, and her cell phone is not near her or something like that. The door, maybe, I don't know. But we got to put all those in perspective as well.
I'm putting all that into perspective. But in putting it all in perspective is also vocalizing when you are uncomfortable. That's still a part of it. Again, I'm not justifying anything that I did. I'm in introspection looking, saying I should not have done that. So let's just be clear about that. But if we can't talk about the woman's accountability, how can we talk about a situation if we're not going to hold both sides accountable? So we have to hold her accountable also.
Okay, so let's talk about the nuances that you want to talk about in this situation. So let's talk about it. You said that, there's several nuances that need to be spoke on. Let's talk about some of those different nuances that you feel are important to the conversation.
Well, first, again, I spoke on earlier, what's the line between persuasion and coercion? I don't know what that line is. Every woman is different. I've met women who want you to be overly aggressive, and if you're not overly aggressive, she's not just going to give it to you. She's going to sit there playing coy, waiting for you to be aggressive. I've had and I have most of women that were like that I didn't have sex with, because I'm like, all right, this is just getting too strange, and I would just leave. So that has to be taken into account also.
So how do you figure that they wanted you to be overly aggressive? What made you determine this woman wants me to be overly aggressive?
Conversations afterwards.
I think what makes
why didn't you do me? Why didn't you do this? Or
Thank you. So it's not just me.
I think what makes a guy feel like the woman wants him to be aggressive is her not just bowing to him, almost like just giving it to him, like coming to him like, I want you. Like that's where I feel like that comes from.
Yeah, like I had a woman one time. We talked about, I'm coming over here to have sex. We were talking the most freakiest shit to each other. She telling me everything she gonna do. I go to her house. We start drinking. We get in her bed. I take my clothes off, but she just lays there. And it's like I'm trying to touch her to get her to warm up, and she's not doing anything. I'm like, we already discussed this again. I didn't have sex with her. So I ended up just leaving. I knew 2 guys who had sex with her. And I'm like, yo, she told me to come over X, Y, and Z. Like, what happened with y'all? And they both said to me verbatim, she like for you to take it.
So were you frustrated, bro?
Was I frustrated? A little, because we discussed having sex.
Well, you know, that's a nuance.
That's what I'm saying.
But
so all of this
like
stuff has
Neek,
to be thrown in the bottle.
But it's just like what Neek was saying. You cannot go into a situation and not think that what you're doing plays a part in it.
I feel like what he's saying, I understand what he's saying. If we talked about fucking, and then once you get here, it's a different story.
Right.
It is going to make the vibe weird. I will agree that it will make the vibe.
But I didn't have sex with her. I left. I'm just saying, you have to put all of these experiences into the bottle, because we are all just a total sum of our life's experience. So you have to put all of that into the bottle when you're dealing with.
I feel like women aren't like. Sugar Hill was making a comment yesterday, and she was like, you know, what if you say, hey, you know, I want to get freaky, and the guy talking freaky, and I'm a person, I've been dick fished before, okay? I've been dick fished where a guy sent me his penis at a certain angle.
This is hilarious. Hilarious.
Where it looked like he might be about something. It was like one of those things. Well, it don't really look too small, but it don't really look too big. But then it don't really look like a shrimp. But then it don't really. I really, you know, it may look. You know, I mean, we might be able to do something. And then, you know, it was at such an angle that he has probably, you know, learned that this is the best angle that works. And then once it was in person, I'm like, this is not the same dick.
So it just threw you off like
that. So I mean, it could have been one of those situations where a guy gets over there where y'all talking freaky. The guy could have done dick fished her, and then she like, this ain't it.
Women be complicated.
I'm not gonna have this conversation with 2 other men on here.
No, I ain't talking about nobody penis.
I'm just saying, but that's like the same thing as y'all. Like, I'm sure y'all never had an experience with a girl where y'all talking freaky, and once you get there, she pull her panties down, and you're like,
yeah, that definitely.
I feel like that's the same thing as dick fish. Like, y'all don't tell those girls, girl, your shit stank. You know what I'm saying? Because I got cousins who we talking about different little situations that happen, and I'd be like, but did you tell her? And they'd be like, no, I ain't say nothing. So I feel like it's the same. Like, a girl probably.
It is the same. Yeah.
People don't tell people. Like, people do not tell people like you ain't really.
Right, how they really feel.
Yeah, they don't tell people how they really feel about it.
That's because we want them to feel comfortable or whatever. And again, you said you made a point. They went to her crib, so they in her spot. So they want to feel comfortable in her spot. They want her to feel comfortable in her own spot. So they not gonna be as honest as they would in their own spot.
They wouldn't be honest. They spot his spot. They spot.
Same way, man. I'm saying, but same as a woman, like, she's not gonna be as honest when she's at another guy's spot when she didn't drive her car or whatever. When she's in her own spot, she's gonna be more honest and more out there because she's comfortable.
Sex is not supposed to be this complicated.
It isn't, but it is all at the same time.
Right.
Okay, what's another nuance that you feel like is important to this conversation?
There's another nuance that's important to this conversation. I think I brought a couple of them up. Again, the woman's accountability, talking about being comfortable. What is too aggressive? But then again, all right, so this is the thing. All right, so what's too aggressive depends on the woman.
And those are conversations that you should have before.
Yeah, but see this.
Okay.
It's hard to have them
Who has these conversations?
I do.
Well, that's
See,
you.
dude,
And I
we
go ahead, bro.
see, no, okay. Yesterday on live, we was talking on Instagram live or whatever. I was on my homegirl Nika live, and dudes talk about you on a date and stuff like that. And the first question he come out with is sex. So your mind is already messed up. And the first, a lot of these dudes out here, that's all they want to talk about is sex. And then when they get around a female, all they want to do is touch and try to grab on her shirt or pants or whatever. We gotta stop that, man. We gotta stop
agree,
it. Y'all too excited about getting the box, bro. And
I totally
like,
agree.
real.
But we're not going to act like all sex happens after you've been on the phone and been on 4 dates and 3 weeks later. So that's nuanced in itself. I might meet you. I might go out on a date. We vibing, then we go back to my spot or go back to your spot. We didn't start asking. And no conversation came up like, well, how aggressive do you like it?
If y'all lead into the sex part, you already know. It's already been conversation like, girl, you look good. Oh, yeah, it smells like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like chemistry is there. I feel like the only reason that these things are coming up to where it's like, oh my God, was I wrong or was I right? It's situations where there's clearly no chemistry and the guy is probably forced in a situation.
But sometimes you can
happen.
But you can have chemistry with a woman who's not ready to have sex. Y'all can be vibing, and she might just be someone who's not down with having sex on the first night. That does not mean y'all not vibing or have chemistry.
You said you can meet a girl and you can have sex with her and not have those conversations. I'm talking about in those moments with sexual intercourse is on the table and going to happen leading up to it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I'm saying at dinner when we vibing, I'm not asking, hey, are we going to have sex tonight? She's not saying, like, are we going to be honest? Are we going to be honest? I don't know how many sexual encounters you have, but that doesn't happen.
How fast do you think a woman should have sex?
It don't really happen like that.
It depends on the woman when she wants to.
I'm saying the chemistry, though. That's what I'm talking about. You're not going to probably have all of those conversations, but I'm talking about the chemistry on whether you're aggressive or too aggressive or moving in too much. Like if you move in close and every time you move in, she's scooting over, you being too aggressive. If it's certain things like that, like if you coming over and then she doing little stuff like, and you noticing little body languages, like, because I've had situations where guys start getting too close and I'm just like, if a woman start backing up, then you're leaning in too aggressively. But if you kind of scoot over a little bit and she scoot over closer to you, that's how you know. Like,
but that doesn't mean she wants to have sex either.
But you're gonna be able to tell with
That's not true. That's not true. It's not.
That's why I'm saying body language. Body language tells it all.
Sitting like this. Hi, how are you today?
Say it again.
So you just go from sitting like this. Hi, how are you today? Oh, I'm good. And then you fuck. Like
no, but somebody can want. First of all intimacy is not sexual intercourse. So somebody can want to be very intimate with you without wanting to have sexual intercourse. That intimacy can be mistaken for wanting sexual intercourse. So yes, somebody can scoot over with you. They can get up under your arm. They can rub out on your leg, and they can feel comfortable with you being very intimate without wanting to have sexual intercourse.
I don't want nobody all up on me like that if I ain't fucking.
That's you. That's true. That's you.
It's all about choice, though.
Yeah, but no, that is true. You can be intimate without sexual intercourse. That is true.
I'm sorry.
You can,
I don't
what is it? Cuddling, holding hands, and all this other stuff.
Laying in bed
is intimate.
I need more women on the panel because let me
bring them on.
Because I need more women because
they're gonna get on here yapping.
I want them to talk.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, their opinion is valid, but we just not going to act like everything is just articulated and verbalized Like no, I've had women who come and just laid in the bed. Like the woman at my house, she was in my house in her bed, in her underwear 3 nights in a row. Now, again, that doesn't make what I did right, but still, for some reason, she wanted to be in my bed in her underwear, cuddling with me.
Why is she in the panties?
And she didn't want to have sex. Right?
That is something that will question me, because it's like if you in the bed and you have panties on and we're cuddling, and then it gets to the sex part and you like, no, it's like, why you in the bed then?
But she has the right to say no. I'm just saying it's nuanced.
Did she press her butt? Did she press
you
her
in
butt
your panties like that? Well, we just finna go to sleep.
She in her panties. Is she sleeping away from you? Is she pressing her butt against you?
Lucky, ask.
Yes.
Ask your situation on Lucky.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask y'all about a situation to see what your opinion would be if it's considered, rape or consensual. I was in a situation where, like, I always use condoms when I have sex, and I've never had, up until that point, I never had unprotected sex. So I met a guy, and it was a one-night stand, which is, what it was. And anyway, I was consensual throughout the process. And we talked, we discussed, that we were going to use condoms and that everything was good. The issue came when, during the intercourse, he decided that
he didn't have none.
He wanted to take the condom off. And yeah, he took the condom off and then proceeded to put it inside me. And like, I never had unprotected sex, so I didn't know. I could tell that it felt differently, and everything happened really quickly. And he, came in me and stuff. And I had never had that experience or whatever. The guy got up, I'm telling him to stop and everything when I started to feel him ejaculate. And I tell him to stop. He gets up after he's done his business, and we kind of get into an argument, and then he leaves. Now, is that considered rape if I was consensual throughout the whole process, but he took the condom off, even though he knows that I didn't want to have unprotected sex, and proceeded to have sex with me? Is that considered rape?
You told him to stop, right? You told him to stop?
I told him to stop when I realized that. No, he had already came in me. It was like real fast.
I don't think that's in the category of rape. I think that's in the category of you shouldn't have took the condom off.
Violation. He violated you.
Because you got the rape is a legal term. So I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's not rape.
If that qualifies as rape.
So is that common
practice?
So is that common practice for guys to take a condom off during sex, and then even though they know that you'll take the condom off and then proceed to have sex with her?
Not for me, because I ain't trying to get you pregnant.
I mean, if you take the condom off and she doesn't know, that is rude. But if you start without the condom, that's a whole nother story.
No, she started with the condom. They had conversations that she wants to have protected sex, and then during sex, motherfucker slipped it off. I've had a guy try that on more than one occasion. So they would definitely try it.
That can be considered.
That ain't rape, but he definitely violated you.
Because that's for one, it's more than a violation, because for one, she consented to protected sex. That's what she
exactly
said. So once you stop that, you change the rules of what I consented to. So that's
exactly
a lot more to consent than just because somebody says yes or something like that. She consented to protected sex. Once you take the condom off, that's not what I consented to anymore.
Is that in the law book?
But that's not rape,
it is.
though.
It is.
Well, I would need to see that. I'm not a lawyer. So
see, what does violation mean, though? In your terms, what does violation mean?
It's disrespect. Violation is disrespect.
That is definitely disrespectful, though.
Given freely, and at any time, it can be taken away.
Yes, it can.
So it is also just because someone says yes. If it's not a freely given yes, it's not consent.
All right, D-Love, what do you think about that?
That's true. That's true.
D-Love,
But if I'm giving it freely,
Mm-hmm.
why would you do that? Because you got to think of the other person and how they're gonna feel afterwards. You would think.
I
Right.
agree with that.
Like, why do guys think that that's okay? Like, even if it's a
And that's
violation
dangerous.
and they're being
Well,
disrespectful
I
and rude,
don't
why
really
did
think
he?
that
why
it
would
was
they think
rape. I
that's
think
okay?
it's more of a violation because she didn't consent to taking it off.
but what if he take the condom
Right.
off and now she got HIV now?
No, that's a whole nother thing.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know if can y'all hear me?
Now
Now that's
you
a
opened up
felony
all the STD
offense.
Take
other
my
things.
headphones out.
Well, let me tell you
That's
the other part of
exactly
it.
what I was thinking about. Like people be
But let me
having all
explain that
kinds
part
of
too.
diseases that you just don't know about. So for
That's a
you to
violation.
just go off and
It's
want
not
to
rape.
take it
She
off,
consented to the
that's like
sex,
a
but not to
manipulation type of
condom.
One at a time. Go ahead, Trashy, and let's
wrong.
be.
Well,
Go
now
ahead.
that's
I was just
attempted
saying
murder.
that I was just saying that you know, for men, like if some men are doing things like that, like taking off the condom and the, you know, in the process or of intercourse, it's like it's a whole manipulation thing. And I'll keep it real. A female like me, I might not exactly say something while it's going on, but hell no. After, I'm not gonna speak to you, I'm not gonna call you, I'm not gonna nothing. Because in my head, I'm like, you are a manipulator. Like you didn't even ask me. You didn't even say, oh
I
shit,
would
my
say
shit came
something.
off. Or
Don't take no condom off with me, nigga.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why would you do
But
like
that's
why
what we
would
was
you do
getting at,
that?
though.
You're
But
being a
and why
manipulator
wouldn't
and
you?
you're
And why wouldn't you say
reckless.
that?
You're being reckless. You don't know if I got herpes, AIDS, all
Right.
kinds of shit. Like, and you just
Yeah. But why wouldn't you say
I
that? Why
Let
can't
me
wouldn't
add
you?
I
this
will
Again,
never
part to
understand
that.
that.
I don't think they do
Let
it
me add this part to it.
why wouldn't you address them?
but they
Why
don't.
wouldn't you address them right then and there? Tracy. Why wouldn't you address them then and there when
I
you
mean, it
get that?
depends on the situation. If it was okay, say this was happening with a one night stand. I mean, I might not say anything because I'm not sure if you're gonna. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know
Right.
you. But if it's
Right.
somebody that
So
I
that's what I was getting at.
know
Yeah, that's what
and
I
I'm kicking it
was
with
getting
you, I'm gonna be like, I might say something then, like, whoa, wait, motherfucker, why? What the fuck you doing? You know, I might do
at. Right.
that. It depends.
But yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like women don't if they, especially if you're at his house. You know what I'm saying?
You
If
breaking
you're
up.
at his house, you're gonna be more protective of yourself because you don't understand. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Are we good?
Yeah, you
No,
good now.
that's what I was saying. Like women, if you're at if you're at the guy's house, you're going to be more protective of yourself. You're not going to try to say anything that might trigger him to get him to be a more abusive towards you, physical.
And honestly,
That's
I
why.
think it's
That's
all
what I
about
was saying.
knowing yourself. Like you got to know yourself as a woman
Right.
and as an individual. I think that's the most important thing. Because if you don't know yourself, you might not know how to respond and act in certain type of situations. And it's about growing on the man's part and the woman's part also. As men, y'all gotta read body language. You gotta, because there are some women. I mean, I have been like that where he's like, damn, I want to hit it. And I'm like, like stop playing. Like I'm dead ass serious. Like, nigga, I don't want to fuck. I don't know you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to get to know you. I'm attracted to you sexually, but not like right now.
All right,
So,
Lucky, what is it that you wanted to add?
Well, that's what I wanted to add was
That's like
that
super.
I had told him, because we stayed in contact like the next day. You know, I texted him and everything. And I didn't say rape or anything because I felt like I wanted to, how do I want to say? I wanted to stay in touch with him for a second because, like I said, I never had unprotected sex and I wanted to get tested. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, there's some kind of pill or something that you can take if you've been sexually assaulted within like 48 hours or 78 hours after the occurrence. And I talked the guy into going to the clinic with me to get checked. So he went to the clinic with me and everything. We both got checked. You know, neither one of us had anything. And I don't know, in my mind, it kind of felt like like with him coming to the clinic and getting checked, that not necessarily that he cared about me or whatever, but that at least he came through and did that for me, even though he violated me in that way. He did, in a sense, kind of, I don't want to say right it, but he did go and get checked, and we both got checked. So that kind of gave me some peace of mind. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Okay. Infinity is you with the clicking sound. I went one by one muting people, and then it was you with the click, 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 click. All right. Tiny.
Oh, I feel like you know when you know. At the end of the day, you know when you know. Like a lot of dudes want to act like they don't know, but
Talking
they
to the
just know.
phone, you sound like you're far away.
Oh well, like you know when you know. Like you know when you want to do. You know when that person wants to do something, and you know when they don't. If y'all was all giggly and all kissy and all that stuff, and then this girl just gets stiff and still, you know she does not want to do anything with you. A lot of them just look over it and just let it fly over their head. But they know, like you know what's going on, you know what you're doing. A lot of them just want to act like, oh, I didn't know, because this happened to me when I was at Cedar Point. Like I ended up getting raped by somebody, and then I confronted him about it, and he was just like, "Well, I didn't feel like."
Can you talk more into the phone? People can't hardly hear you. It's hard to hear you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It
Yeah, I
sounds
can hear
very
you.
far away.
Nick, I can't hear you though. Nick.
You should be able to hear me. Can you? Everybody else hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Oh, Tiny clicked off. I don't know what's going on.
I hear you, Nick, very well.
So, what was your initial thought when you watched the video? How do you say your name? Bamadale?
When I watched the other guy's video.
Did you watch our reaction to it on the live? Yesterday?
I watched a little bit of it, but I just moved to a new state, so I've been running around buying stuff and putting stuff together in my house. So I'm actually putting together my TV stand now. But so I listened to a lot of. I didn't listen to all of it, no.
So what was your response to what you did here?
Again, I still feel like even in this conversation, we're trying to identify right or wrong, and we're not coming to any consensus on how we prevent it. So I just feel like people are very shallow in their analysis of things and not operating from a place of healing. Let's talk about all right, brothers, let's be less aggressive. And what that looks like, and let's talk about women. Stop putting yourself in positions where certain things can happen. A lot of times, women want to act like they live in a world where bad doesn't happen. Like I'm not going to walk around with $100,000 worth of jewelry on in Marcy Projects at 1 a.m. I'm just not. I'm not going to do that. You know, if I get robbed, somebody can't. The first thing people going to say is, "What the fuck was you doing at Marcy Projects with $100,000 worth of jewelry on?" We understand things happen, so we protect ourselves. So what I would rather talk about is women taking accountability and men taking accountability. So the brothers telling other men, listen, we have to tone it down. Let's start having the conversations that Neek is talking about. That's good. Let's have conversations about what's too aggressive for you, trauma that you dealt with in your past, different things like that. But then let's also talk about not putting yourself in a room with a guy that you just met. The sister says she was having a one-night stand. You are in a room with somebody you just met today. So if we can't talk about those type of things, I personally feel like the conversations are fruitless because we're not doing anything to prevent it from happening. All we're doing is arguing semantics.
We talked about all of that stuff yesterday. We talked about not putting yourself in those situations. Okay. We talked about the situations where women will say, oh, I'm just going to let him eat my cooch, but then I don't want to have sex with him. And then, I'm going to tell him to stop after that. And we talked about all of those things yesterday in the conversation on how to prevent being in these compromising situations. We talked about, we went over a whole list of things, and that was definitely part of the conversation that we had yesterday, as far as don't go to a guy's house at booty call hours that you do not plan to sleep with. That's just not wise. It's not advised. Don't initiate an oral sex, and just because, and don't let if a guy eats your box or tells you, hey, let me put the tip in, he's going to want to fuck. That's just segues and manipulation that guys use to try to fuck, because they think, well, once I start eating her coochie, she damn for sure gonna want to fuck me. So, this is my entryway into the situation. So I talked about how women should not even set themselves up in that trick bag to even do that.
I agree wholeheartedly with all that.
Definitely conversations that we definitely had yesterday. Sanaa, what is something that you wanted to add to the conversation?
I swear, like every time you say my name wrong, it's Santa. It's just Santa, like Anna with an S. Yes. So just now joining, I saw what the conversation was supposed to be about. So when I clicked on it, the little blurb or whoever made the post went away. But what made me call in is because someone was speaking about, the whole, when you start with the condom and they take it off, and, is it violation? Is it rape? If it's not what I consented to me, my personal opinion, it's rape. I can consent to say, I consented to us having consensual protected sex. If while you in the mix of your mix, you take off the condom, now I didn't consent to that. That's just me personally. That's not the same. I mean, it's more than a violation. Of course, it's a horrible violation of your body. It's fine if you don't care about your body, dude. Like, if you don't care that I might have got AIDS in 1998 and I don't even know yet, and now you got it and you going, because the thing is, if they come back hot, they're coming back for you. Like, oh, you burnt me and blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. You did that to yourself. Everybody has to be accountable for their behavior, whether it's a one-night stand. I mean, you have to weigh your options. Now, you choose to go to a one-night stand, you don't know what you're going to get. Literally, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't even know if you're going to get a good lay. So that's different. Like, that's not the same as, to me, are two different issues. Like, yes, if we're talking about somebody who had a one-night stand, then let's talk about that. If we're talking about somebody who's been talking to somebody on Facebook for whatever days people do these days, and let's talk about that. But it's not a clear and concise situation. You have to take responsibility for the situation that you're in. And the situation that I saw that made me click in was this whole thing about it's a violation, but it's not rape. If I didn't consent to it, it's rape. If you try to have anal sex with me when I said I just wanted to have regular sex, that's rape. Anything that I did not say yes to is rape.
But ma'am, your opinion does not define legality.
It's not my opinion.
No,
and depending on what your state is, no, honey, I have my master's degree in social worker. I said to me. I didn't say my opinion. I didn't say my opinion. I said to me.
To me, if you do,
that's my professional opinion. How about that?
A social worker is not a lawyer.
With children and families. I'm not saying it's a lawyer, but as a social worker, you do have to work in courtrooms. You do have to be well versed in some laws, depending on what lane of social work you do. I work with children and families, and I've also worked with domestic violent women. So I am aware for my state. I live in Pennsylvania, and previously I lived in Arizona. Anytime at any point during that, even if it's regular sex, we agree to have vaginal sex and we start and I say no and you still continue, that's rape. That's in my state. I don't know anybody else's state.
Yes.
So anytime after the moment that I say no, it's not an issue. It's rape.
And it's so blasé how the guys are like,
right.
It's a violation. Like, it happens. Like, it's okay to do that. If I've consented to a certain type of sex, then that's what I consented to. And when you change it, like she said, it's no longer what I consented to.
We're definitely not trying to say it's okay.
Just say it's a violation. Like, oops, oh my.
No.
I mean, that's just so like.
That's not what we're saying. Us saying it's a violation is us condemning it. Us saying it's not rape is because we are not lawyers. So we
So
don't
if you
know the
condemn
law.
it, then what do
We
you
don't.
think should be done about it?
I don't know. I don't know, but I can't call something a legal term if I do not know the legalities of it. I just cannot do that.
But you could get in trouble for it. Like, it's like some things are common sense. Like, you don't have to be a lawyer to know that if I go into a store and I steal a piece of candy, this is not right. Like, there are certain things that you don't have to be a lawyer to know is
you do need to need to know the law to understand what's considered rape. I do not know that. And I'm a very educated individual. I do not know the law. So I cannot speak on something that's legal.
But you can't you cannot go and say, okay, this girl was laying down, she had her panties off, so I just started having sex with her. I didn't know that was rape.
Now you're changing. You're changing.
Like, it doesn't matter if you know
You're
the
changing
law.
the conversation.
Let me say this. One thing I know for the entire country that we live in, ignorance is not an excuse from the law. Okay, so you cannot know the law all you want, but guess what? If you find yourself in that situation, they don't care that you didn't know the law. Ignorance is not an excuse.
I'm not talking about being a court. I'm talking about having conversations with other people who are not lawyers. And I personally, all I'm saying is, I cannot call something legal.
You don't have to be a lawyer to have these conversations.
To call something a legal term, you have to know what the legalities are. You cannot have a conversation calling something legal.
So that our brothers and sisters are not tripped up in a trick bag, so that we understand how we feel as a collective about these issues and get everybody.
You don't need the law to define it.
To have this conversation.
So if we just want to have a conversation about what makes black women feel uncomfortable, I'm 100% with that. I just can't call something a legal term unless I know for sure it's illegal. But now it doesn't matter to me if it's illegal or legal, because it can be illegal and I still should not do it to a black woman or any woman for that matter, but I only do it black women. So even if it's legal, if I made a black woman feel uncomfortable, I need to change that.
Okay, so let's take legal and illegal out the table. Let's talk about morally right and wrong. How about that? If legal bothers you to say legal or whatever, let's take the word legal out of the conversation and just talk about women feeling uncomfortable or feeling like you didn't do the right thing to them. Like, let's not even make it a legal conversation. If that the word.
The problem is people's morals is messed up. But I will give my man credit, because he did question himself when he was going over the video. He did question himself, like, did I do this? So he was wondering if he did it or not. He was questioning his morality or whatever. So I will give you credit.
I don't even know where legal came from.
The term rape is a legal term.
Yeah.
So you're telling me if there wasn't a law around the word rape, that it wouldn't rape is an action, right? Now there are legal replications behind rape, but it doesn't change what rape is. Rape is still rape, whether it's illegal, legal, whatever. And the laws change depending on which state you're in, what country you're in, or whatever, which defines that.
Would you say that a guy initially raped you because he took the condom off?
I'm sorry, too. I didn't.
Would you call it rape immediately once you found out the condom was off?
Now, this is my personal opinion as Santa, as a woman. I would probably say something to him, but would I seek legal recourse? Probably not.
No,
unless it was like.
Not would you seek it. I'm just saying initially, would your initial feeling be at the time you raped me?
No, my initial feeling will be disgust. And where the fuck did you just bring that
right, so that's from? Where it will have to stay.
But that's the thing. There are people who are really raped and then don't realize that they've been a victim of rape until they sat and thought about the whole situation. So I can't say, does it matter at what moment you decide, like, damn, I was just raped? My initial reaction is going to be, this nigga is trying me. You really just took the condom? Like, did you? Okay.
How soon would that happen for you? If that happened for you, how soon would that be? Would you sleep with a guy on the first day?
I have slept with a guy on the first date, but it was our first date, not our first interaction.
Right.
I would not have a one night stand. Like, I'm not like taking you home from the bar.
Right.
But
So basically, for all women, it's disrespectful when something happens like on the first night, and it's like he took the condom off. That's disrespectful. We're not. That's
no.
not in the
If we're still
category.
using condoms, there's a reason. So for you to violate my body, that's a problem. I don't care if you've been my nigga for 2 years. The longer I know you, the more I'm going to be heated because you should know me.
But 2 years though?
Can I,
if we're still using condoms, there's a reason.
Santa, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
So you said sometimes it takes for a woman to sit back and reflect to even recognize that she's been raped. Now, if that's true and she doesn't even know in the moment that she's being raped, how does the man know he raped her if she don't even know if she got raped?
I'm not saying that his knowledge of my experience does not determine the outcome. I would say, like, I have a lot of nephews. I only have one niece. I have a lot of nephews. And this is a conversation piece. Like, don't just think, oh, she's kissing me back, so she must be with it. Like, this needs to be, do you want to have sex? Are we having sex? Okay. And go from there. But don't just take anything for granted. Don't think that, we started out good. So, I mean, I don't know when it changed for her. Like,
all right,
you should probably find out.
Shift to the new people who came on. So, Fila, you came on a little late, and the conversation was, first we started off with, say your name again.
Bamadela.
Who, me?
Bamadela. First, we started off with Bamadele, and he was giving his account on his intention for making the video and him talking about his experience. Then we had Lucky chime in and give an account on a situation and wanted to know if it was considered rape, and said she was having sex with a guy and she wanted to have protected sex, meaning like she wanted condom on. So they started out with wearing a condom, and then through the course of intercourse, the guy took the condom off and then inserted and ejaculated inside of her. And she wanted to know what that was considered. What is your take on that?
Well, yesterday I told you my take on how you say it, brother? Bamadele. I didn't think he was foul for the way he got at that girl. Remember, I said dude number A, I think he was too aggressive, but the brother right here, I was saying that I didn't think he crossed the line. That's just the way I looked, I felt it. And I also felt when he was talking about how he introduced her, he was like, I met a queen back in the day. So kind of gave me the feeling like, you had some kind of scruples about yourself and some kind of understanding about how to be a man. So I didn't think you kind of violated from the way you told the story. That's just how I felt. And you didn't have to tell the story. It wasn't like nobody was pressing you. But as far as, taking the condom off during, consensual sex, I think that's super foul. But at the same time, I couldn't say that it's a rape. It's just like something foul that occurred, during your sexual relations with, whoever you was having that sexual relations with. It's super foul. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's a bad blemish on your character. It's all the things that you could say to anybody's, moral conduct. But as far as rape, I wouldn't, just in my layman terms of the way I think of things, I wouldn't say it was really rape. That's like a girl telling me she on the pill and she knows she wasn't, and then she get pregnant. I wouldn't think that she like super scammy. That would be more like, a character flaw. Somebody I wouldn't want to deal with going forward, because I feel like, you kind of perpetrated something against me.
Isn't a character flaw.
Right. I'm gonna pause everybody for a second. So I keep seeing comments ask if there are any licensed therapists or psychologists on the panel. None of us are licensed therapists or psychologists, and none of us claim.
I'm actually a counselor.
I'm actually a licensed clinical social worker. I have my master's in social work with a concentration.
Okay.
I mean, social workers have a different license. It's not same as like a psychiatrist. It might be the same as a psychologist.
Psychologist,
Yeah.
you need some hours and a
Psychologists to have
doctor's degree.
these types of conversations, because these types of conversations are happening with average people, and we as a collective
And
need
should.
to understand how we feel about this situation, whether you're a licensed therapist, psychologist, or whatever. We need to have these conversations because it's regular, everyday people caught up in these scenarios of people feeling like somebody crossed the line, somebody getting hemmed up and jacked up for a situation that they felt was wrong. The other person felt like they was in their means to do. And I feel like we need to have these conversations so people can know what should be a boundary or where it does teeter-totter over across the line, and how a guy should operate and what are things that a woman should do to operate. That's what this conversation really
and education don't determine intelligence. We need to stop that. Education does not determine intelligence.
If you have a certain degree that you're more versed or you're more you probably have qualifications of reading a number of more books, but that doesn't. Life experience is a well taught teacher. Like life experience is a good teacher.
I agree.
Well, I do have the psychology. I operate in that realm. My thing is I couldn't speak on law. That was my only thing. I don't know law, but psychology I can get into that. That's what I do. I've been a counselor for over 10 years.
Right.
Okay, I just have a comment back to, I think, is it Alfila?
Yes. Alfila.
I would say, I'm going to say that a woman who tells you that she's on birth control and really isn't, and then has a baby, is not the same as you taking off the condom. Because when you ask a woman, you're giving her that trust. But if you take off the condom and don't ask me, it's because you knew I would say no. Get the fuck out of here. No, what are you talking about? So
it's never the same when it comes to men.
When you decide to take off that condom, you are taking away my ability to make an informed decision.
It's the exact
Can I ask
same
a question
situation.
as well? Can I ask a
It's
question?
not the same thing.
Exactly.
So if you know you want to have sex with a man, if you want to have,
that is crazy that these guys think this way. That's crazy as fuck.
How could that be the same thing when you're having an open conversation with this woman about her birth control choice, right?
And
you choose based on what she told you to have sex with her unprotected or not, however you choose to do that. Lying is lying.
Listen, I consented to have unprotected sex with you under the guise that you are on the pill. The same way you saying I consented to sex with a condom. It's the exact same situation.
It's not the exact same thing.
The exact same situation.
No. First of all, if you're taking off the condom in the middle of having sex, you're trying to be fucking sneaky. You're being sneaky because if that was the case, you'd be like, oh, let me just take this off real quick.
It's being sneaky.
It's feeling so good.
Both are being
it's also being sneaky.
That's crazy.
I was about to say it's both.
Both of them are being deceptive. Both of them.
So if you want to have sex with a person, why wouldn't you both go to the clinic prior to sex and you both get tested and share results before you have sex?
For me,
so then if
I do get tested. Well, but there is a conversation about being tested and stuff, but that is not what the condom is only supposed to do. And at the end of the day, from the day that we decide to get tested and we get our results to the next time that we have sex, who knows how much time there is between that. I personally choose to use condoms until I feel comfortable don't, and that's just a thing of building relationship with a person. But if I have not said, okay, I'm okay with having sex without a condom, that is not the same thing as you deciding, you know what, because she told me this is what I'm going to do. My number one thing for my nephews is always protect yourself. You don't know if that girl, she could be on birth control. What if she don't take it right? What if she don't take it when she's supposed to get read up on it?
All right,
she could be, and all birth control isn't 100%. It could fail.
It's not. They're both disrespectful and violation.
Angel.
Oh shoot! Hey y'all, sorry I was muted. So I'm a little late. I missed like the first hour. And so is Bamidele, is he the
Bamidele? Yes, on the
Bamadele,
video.
sorry.
Yes.
Is he the guy from
It's all right.
Situation B? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I believe that both Situation A and Situation B, which you post on your page, I think they're kind of the same thing. Like where both of these guys push the boundaries too much. Like, so when I heard Situation A, to be clear, I don't consider either one rape. And I also don't consider Lucky's situation where the guy took off the condom rape. To me, and I know a lot of females might be on my head about this, but I think that rape is when you are literally pinning a girl down, taking that shit, like taking it from her. Like she's not gonna put herself in a situation. She's not gonna go to a hotel. She's not gonna be drinking with you. That's not rape to me. That's a woman putting herself in a situation where she might have an accident with a guy that she maybe didn't want to have sex with. But to me, that's not rape.
So when you tell a guy no, regardless, they're supposed to stop. How can you sit there and say in a comfortable mind, with a comfortable frame of mind, saying that this man is on top of me? He takes the condom off while he is on top of me. A full-size man, I'm only 5'2", a full-size grown man. And he takes the condom off without my note, without telling me or making that choice for me. He's making that choice for me. And y'all and these dudes are just so blasé, like it's a violation. It's
Man, we are not just
disrespectful.
blasé about it. Please stop saying
To
that.
me,
We
that
are
sounds
not.
so blasé. Because
I think
we
it's
are
an
not.
at any
exaggeration
point
though.
that
At
I
some
say
point,
during the sex act, no or stop, or this isn't what I agreed to, and you're gonna do it anyway, even though you know that's not what I wanted you to do, you're gonna do it anyway and try to make me like it.
All right. So
And
Angel,
you guys,
you feel like
I can't process this. Y'all really something else. Is that really how dudes think?
We
you
are
kind of
not saying it's
exaggerating, Lucky.
okay.
How am I exaggerating?
Okay, wait. Angel,
Because
explain
you
your definition
having
again.
sex and you getting raped at the same time? How?
Not everybody morals are the same. We got.
What are the morals of a rapist?
He don't have none.
To rape somebody is to take advantage of the situation and of the individual. All rape doesn't have to be somebody punching you in the face and knocking your teeth out and taking your vagina. All rape doesn't have to be like that. If you, just like Santa said, if at any point during the sexual act I tell you no, or this isn't what, or whatever, you're supposed to stop. But you're not. But he knew he was getting ready to come, and the only reason why he took the condom off was because he's like, "You're so wet," and I can't even stand to hear when a guy say "you so wet." It just does something to me. I want to feel it, and that's what he did. Don't laugh, motherfucker. I don't think that shit's funny.
D-Love in the comments said, "Do you feel like you were raped yourself? Do you feel like you yourself? Do you feel like you were raped?"
I think does.
I do. I think it was because I told him I had never had unprotected sex. We had a full discussion about how we were gonna have sex, everything, all of that, and we're grown. And up until that point in my life, every dude that I dealt with, they respected me, even if they were a one-night stand. And we always use condoms. I always use condoms, and I never had a dude just do that to me. When you take the power away from somebody else and just do what you want to do, how do y'all rationalize that in your mind? He took my power away because I agreed to, I'll have sex with you, but then you're gonna take the condom off and ejaculate in me.
We didn't rationalize it. We said he was wrong.
And rape is wrong, right?
He was wrong, but it wasn't rape.
The only thing we were saying was we don't know if legally that qualifies as rape. That's all we were saying. But we said he definitely violated you. He definitely was wrong. He definitely shouldn't have done it. We did not rationalize it or act blase blah or act like it was okay. We did not in any way. We were only saying we don't know because we are not educated on the topic legally. Was it legally considered rape? That was our only response. We said he was wrong. And I'm sorry that it happened to you, sister. And I'm sorry that you feel like we were blase blah. We were not.
Infinity, they want to know why you laughing.
Cause it just sounds so complicated to me. I never experienced that.
And let me say something real quick. To me, I laughed at the part when she said, I hate when guys say it's not wet, because the way she said it, that's the only thing I was laughing at in particular. Now, as far as about, the part when we were talking about a guy, sticking it in and he didn't have so-called consent to stick it in without the condom, I think you kind of took it to an extreme, like we were either saying it was like black or white. That's a gray area. That's kind of more into to your character and to the type of men that you're dealing with, and y'all need to discuss that further. But I personally don't think that's a rape if a guy having sex with you and he gets slick and you don't catch him and you don't say stop. No, don't put it in without that condom. He put it in anyway.
And that's how you rationalize it. He gets split.
Hold on a second.
Wait. Pause. Somebody said, "Nick, please don't let this woman be abused or ridiculed." Lucky is a person who can hold her own without me, but I'm not gonna let nobody just berate Lucky. They're having a discussion. We're all adults, and if it gets too heated, obviously I know when to step in. But it has not been to a point where Lucky is being abused or anything like that. Stop.
Okay, so all I want to say real quick is
new society.
No, I'm not being abused.
Can I ask the men what do they consider
new
rape?
society.
Because I think a lot of men
My
think
goodness.
what Angel said is rape, and anything else after that is, kind of messed up, but it's not rape. So where do you guys
violation
think is?
Personally, I don't know what all of the new what the legal term is.
Okay, aside
rape. I don't
from
know.
legal, what do you think is rape?
Rape is a legal term. I can't speak on it outside of legal.
Say what you. If somebody said, "What do I think is murder?" I can still give my opinion on what I think is.
You
murder.
cannot give your opinion on a legal term. You can't.
Yes, you can.
That's
Hey, let me say this. Let me say this
rape
real
is
quick.
taking something that's pretty much taking it.
Let me tell you this. This is where you can give your opinion if you're not a lawyer.
You're taking it without her knowledge and consent.
Okay, look, all of these people in the courtroom, they all got, professions like the prosecutor, the DA, the judge, right? But at the end of the day, the people in the 12 in the box, those are layman people. They're from all walks of life. They don't have no degrees. Right. What they say matter than the judge, than the prosecutor, and the DA. So you can't say that a layman person can't weigh in on if you about to go to jail for rape, because they're the number one factor if you about to go to jail for rape.
Now, so the 12 people are laymen, but when they're in court, they get explained to them legally what things are, and then they judge according to what they were told legally is what it is or what it isn't. They don't just do it on their own opinion. The prosecutor lays everything out for them to decide.
It's their opinion. It's their life experience.
So if I get found not guilty of rape, but Neek feels like it's rape, is it rape? I just got found not guilty. Is it rape?
Well, let me say this. You ever heard of a split jury?
Yes.
That means they all sat there and heard all of the legal jargon, but they came with different opinions, right?
Yes.
So that's what you call a layman person. You can hear one thing legally. I heard it. We both heard it the same way, but it don't override what we feel in our heart. So Neek said guilty. You said not guilty. I said guilty. Hung jury. So that is the factor. The 12 laymen, if you really think about it, common sense in a scenario like this, they're not going to just stick to the law. They're going to stick to their intuition and what they feel really happened.
How about this? How about I read the definition of rape to you, and then after I read you the definition, can you give me your opinion on it?
I will not give my opinion on something I'm not educated on. I just don't operate that way. I hate when someone. Hold on. And I hate when people come to me with their opinions about what I'm educated on. So I'm not going to do it to somebody else's profession. I hate when folks come to me about something I've studied for 20 years with their opinion. So I don't give an opinion on things I'm not educated on.
This is something that can happen to anybody, whether you have education or not.
You did make a video. Hold on. You did make a video. Okay. Making up a term consensual rape, though. That was your opinion.
That's not a legal
tell your
term.
Daughter or your son? What would you tell them?
What would I would tell.
What is rape? What would you tell them? Like,
you don't know?
To my knowledge, I would say rape is taking sex.
So then you
Unconsented
said
sex.
that like 10 minutes ago. Your opinion. That's your.
But there are so many nuances to where a woman can feel raped. She might not have legally been raped, but she can feel raped. And I have to be empathetic to that as a black man.
True.
I can't discount her feelings just because legally it was right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
I
what
want to deal with how you felt.
Your opinion of the matter is. We understand that there's nuances and there's so many different opinions. That's why we got a panel of 10 people on here to give their different opinions. But I specifically want your opinion on it. Then I'm going to go to iAffinity to get his opinion on it. Then I'm going to go down the line to get everyone's opinion, because we understand that opinions are different. So in order to have a collective and concise dialogue, I want to get your opinion, her opinion, his opinion. You know what I'm saying? We have to get each other's opinion. And then once we get each other's opinion, then we can go into the nuances of what it is.
I don't have an opinion on certain. I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
If she feels, I don't know what makes somebody feel some way. I don't know what's going on in her mind. And if she feels some kind of way and expresses it, I have to acknowledge how she felt, even if my opinion said I didn't do nothing wrong. If she felt like she was wrong, I have to change my behavior.
Okay. iAffinity.
Damadele, I have a question. So
wait, Santa. Wait, Santa. iAffinity, what's your definition of rape? What's your opinion on?
I agree with everybody else. It's to take sex from a woman.
Okay, and how can a man take sex from a woman?
Well, if she's outdoors, if she's walking home or something, she gets grabbed up, or even if she's inside of his home or the guy's in her home and she doesn't want to have sex and he forces himself on her, that's rape.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on situations where a girl is having sex and they consented to sex, and then the girl says, oh, stop, stop, and then keep going?
She consented to sex and then said stop?
In the middle of intercourse.
I mean, I would have to stop. I'm not going to keep having sex. That would turn me off anyways. I can't keep going. And she said stop. And it's
so
like
in an instance where a guy continues to go, what do you think that is?
That's rape.
Okay. Alfila, what's your definition of rape?
I feel my definition of rape is basically if it's unconsensual.
Okay. What determines if it's unconsensual? Because as we had the conversation yesterday, there's girls who say no and then turn around and say you raped them when you're thinking it was consensual.
Well, I just think at any point, from start to finish, if the word no enters the program, that's when you're supposed to put, you're supposed to skid and put the brakes on. And then reason with that in your mind later on, because it's not worth, whatever your interpretation might be for whatever is going to come your way because you made the wrong decision. It's like you see a stop sign. Why not just stop at it? You feel what I'm saying? If somebody say no, and anywhere during the beginning and the end, I would say that's just your cue to just say, you know what, it's a wrap.
All right, the plainest Jane, what's your definition?
When you haven't done the due diligence to figure out if there's consent or not, period. Consent, sometimes it's not always verbal. When I lost my virginity, we didn't have a conversation that said, hey, do you want to do this? But we had a working understanding based on how we had been communicating in all different ways that that's something that we wanted to do. So if at any point in time someone says no, or you're doing something, if someone takes a condom off in the middle of it and you recognize it and you say no, I don't want to do this anymore, and the person keeps going, that's taking something, and that's rape, in my opinion, simply put.
Okay. Santa had a question, and she wanted to know do you think that a prostitute can be raped?
Yeah.
Yes. Goodness gracious.
How can you easily say you think a prostitute can be raped when you can't even say that you think that something is considered to be rape?
Okay.
To be honest, a lot of them do rape. A lot of them be raped, and right.
What?
A lot of them do get raped, and they're not believed because of their business. So
right. And I'm not saying anything about them not being raped. I'm not discrediting that. What I'm saying is for an individual who says, I can't even give you my opinion of what rape is because I'm not a lawyer. How can you easily say, oh yeah, prostitute can be raped, but you can't easily say, here's my opinion of what rape is. That's what I'm saying.
I will explain to you gladly. So just because a woman is a prostitute doesn't make her any less of a woman to me. So she can easily be held down and raped. Now, it's clear-cut rape, and then there's a bunch of different nuances. So what I'm talking about is when it's not just you being held down and raped, and it's all of these other different things that's going on, I do not know what qualifies technically as rape. Can I say if he took the condom off and kept going? But she didn't say, she said no. He took it off. She didn't really know if he took it off or not. He kept going. Does that mean it's rape? I don't know. If she says no, stop, and he keeps going, that's clear-cut rape. But where it's not clear-cut, I cannot just say it's rape because I don't know.
If anybody,
did she not clearly communicate that she didn't want to have unprotected sex from the beginning?
He had the condom on.
And did the man clearly not say he only wanted to have sex if you was on birth control? But y'all don't care about the men. It's always different when it comes to men. Anytime we tell y'all, you know how you felt when X, Y, and Z happened to you? Well, that's how I feel when X, Y, and Z happened to me. Y'all like, no, it ain't the same. How can you discount our feelings, but then want us to be empathetic to everything that you deal with?
No,
I'm
you
not
keep literally
discounting
driving
your
the
feelings. I
conversation
just said
back
it's
to
not
where
the
you wanted to
same.
be.
I respect your feelings.
From a man's perspective, it is the same.
I understand and
go ahead.
I understand and respect men's feelings when they get trapped in situations because of deceitful conversation. All I'm saying it's not the same as a woman being raped. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're not both violations, but are they the same? No, because at the end of the day,
we're not talking about the same as this crime and this isn't. We're talking about the disrespect or the dishonesty that goes into what my man is talking about, and women lying to men about birth control. That's what he's getting at. We're not talking about the physical rape and her missing a freaking what is it, a pregnancy pill or whatever. We're talking about the disrespect. It's still the same type of disrespect. No sin is greater than another.
I wouldn't say that, but
all right. So is there anybody who is in the chat who has a question for the panel on these nuances of this conversation and anything like that? If you have a question, type the letter Q in front of your question so that I know you're asking a question. I can't read through all the comments, but I can zoom in on what the questions is and things like that. If you want to call in, I'll put the StreamYard link in the chat. Nunu Sky, is there something that you want to ask? But when I put you on, it's background interference, so I can't do the background interference for too long.
Oh, is it me?
Yes, you.
Hello?
Yes, you.
Is it gone now?
Talk.
She's clear.
Is there a question that you wanted to ask, Nunu Sky?
Yes. Okay, so with the nuance and all that going on, you keep going back to the birth control, right? Okay, so let's say that happens, right? Bam. She's not on birth control. She's pregnant. In reality, men leave women with children, their own children, every day. So what exactly is the problem that you have or that you're going to get from that situation? Is it child support? Is it when the kid grows up, they come with all these questions to you? Because when you're dealing with rape, that is forever. You can never be touched again. You have to go through so much to even get back to feeling sexy, to feeling like you want some attention from someone that's not going to take it from you. Exactly. So I'm just trying to get to what is the problem, or what really do you, what is it that messes with your life, your livelihood? If this lady has a baby with you, if 9 out of 10 you're gonna leave her anyway, is what the stats say. So when you say, oh, she lied.
Whoa. Hold on. I'm gonna have to debunk that right now. I'm gonna have to debunk that right now.
Well, I got something popped up on my screen. It's going now.
The stats of black men leaving children is not true. We are not, and actually, there's a stat.
I know it's not. I know it's not true. I know it's not true. But I'm just saying it because that's what gets said. We have empty homes. You guys are in jail. You're on crack. You leave us for white women. It's just everything that's out there. So let's get to the meat of the conversation. I know it's not a fact, but that's what gets said. So if she had this baby,
whoa, back up, whoa, because that just was a lot of shit.
Got my daughter in the room, so
you're saying that right now. So you're saying that. Hold on, wait, let me mute you, because you got background interference. All right, let me take a second to digest what you just said.
Back now.
Yeah.
You're saying that because there are men who leave, that it should not be a problem to lie about being on the pill and getting pregnant because they might leave anyways? Is that what you said? I just want to be very clear, Nuna Sky.
No, I'm saying, is that the reason that he's basically trying to compare that to rape? So if I lie to him and say I'm on birth control and then I become pregnant, what is it that's going to mess up your life? Because if you rape me, my life is over. I have to start from scratch. I need counseling. I need to go to defense classes.
Whoa, back up. You lying about being on the pill is and then becoming pregnant. That's a consensual situation, but you lied about it. That's so. Make your point about that, and then if you want to compare how it compares to rape, then make your point about that, because you're blending them together, and I don't think that it blends the way that you're doing it. I don't know. It's coming out.
Hey, can I say something?
I'm not trying to blend it together. I'm just trying to see, like, when she was explaining her situation, he gave his example of, oh, well, if you lie to me and say that you're on birth control, I feel that it's the same thing. So my question to him is, we all know what people from rape lose when they get raped. What do you lose from that situation?
Hey, let me answer that.
What is it that you lose?
Your family.
One quick second. Okay, far as my understanding, like, when I said what I said, I never said I was comparing that to rape. Like, when you hear things and you listen, you got to listen to understand, not to respond. Because what I was comparing it to was a person having sex with somebody with a rubber on. No one said stop. He just was being slick, took the rubber off, and kept going. I was comparing it to that. Now, how you split it all the way to rape, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I wasn't comparing those two things when I brought that up. I was comparing the fact of it's a more of a moral and a character flaw of a person who does either one of the two. I would never compare something like that to rape, because it's two totally different
things. I think
things.
what she's saying is that she feels when you take the condom off, that is rape, because you no longer have my consent.
But let her say that. That way we won't speculate. Is that how you feel? Is that what you're saying?
That's what.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, I told him to stop, and I said no. I said those words to him when I felt that in me. I didn't know, and it was new to me, and I did say stop. No, I said those words.
Oh, I totally agree with you. If you said no, like I said earlier, I'm talking to two people now because I'm talking to you, but I was really answering the girl who got on. But it's all good. But talking to you directly, I totally
y'all
agree
keep
with
saying
you.
like
Anytime you say no, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Lucky, you went out.
Yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Everybody's quiet now. I can't hear nothing.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
We're waiting for you to talk.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying, I did tell him stop, and I did say no. I said those words to him when I realized that the condom was off.
You was 100% right. You was right. That's just my opinion only.
But earlier she said she told him stop once he was already ejaculating.
Right.
Because I felt it coming in me. That's how I knew that there was nothing, that he didn't have a condom on.
So for me, like as we're looking at these situations,
Actually, I think it's you that's echoing.
Yeah, it's her.
I'm on my phone doing this. So is it my phone that's doing it?
We all
You're not
probably
echoing no
on
more.
phones.
Oh, never mind. You are echoing.
Here, I'm gonna take it off the charger. Is it doing it now?
no.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
You might need to use some earphones.
Let me get some earphones. Hold on.
So, New Sky, were you addressing me or were you addressing Ophelia?
It's Alfila.
I was addressing you.
I feel it. I can't see it.
She said she was addressing you, brother.
Oh, well, again, so the good thing is Ophelia spoke up. It wasn't me that compared it to anything. It was him, but he articulated that he wasn't comparing it to well, I don't want to say actual rape, but of a physical rape. But again, I just want to do it. If we have to listen to women and how they feel about certain things, y'all also have to listen to us.
I agree.
You can't tell us it's not the same if we feel like it's the same. You can't do that.
Okay. You're entitled to your feelings.
And that's fine. So in that moment, what do you feel about that? Okay, we have sex. I lied. I'm not on birth control. 9 months later, I show up at your door with our baby girl. What is the situation for you?
Not with a baby girl.
Okay, so I have a baby girl.
Yes, with the baby girl.
I have a 16.
Baby girl.
I have a 16-year-old daughter who was with me up until the time that she was 10 years old. That just had a sweet 16. I spent thousands of dollars on. My daughter, she travels all over the country with me. She travels out of the country with me. I spend all kinds of money on my daughter. It's my only daughter. So does that, now, I'm not mad at that because it's my child. I'm spending money on my child. But would I like to have that money back if I didn't want to have that child? So how does that not alter my life if I have a child? I'm not a man who's going to walk away from a child that I know is mine. That's not going to happen. So yes, that's going to alter my life. It's going to alter things that I have to do because I'm going to have to stay and watch the child. The child's going to have to stay with me, and I'm not going to be able to go do certain things at certain times. It's going to affect my pockets. It's going to affect the money that I'm putting in trust funds for my child growing. It's going to affect a whole lot for me because I'm a stand-up man who is going to take care of this child. So yes, it would affect my life if you lied and told me that you were on the pill, but you weren't, and then I got you pregnant, and now I have to take care of a child because I will not, under any circumstances, ever leave a child of mine, ever.
Well, I mean, you said that with your chest. I agree.
Man,
if we're talking about how it affects you, hello? If we're talking about how it affects your life, that it has a profound effect on your life, then yes, they are comparable. My dissension in the comparison was, so if we're sitting down, we're about to have sex and you're like, you're on birth control, right? And I say yes, you still have that moment to be like, okay, then I'm with this or not. If somebody takes off a condom, especially if they're slick doing it, don't be like hitting it from the back or something. You just take off a condom. Like, how many seconds do you have to realize that, oh, he's taking off the condom before he comes and it be a problem? I consented to consent to.
So why is one lie less a lie to you?
For me, in this situation, as a woman who has had somebody try to take off a condom, a man, what I teach my nephews is don't go on what that girl says. Like if y'all are in a relationship where you know for sure that she's on the pill or shot or IUD or something, she don't got no proof of that, then that's a no. You don't know.
So
Err
the
on the
man,
side of caution.
so the man has all the accountability when he's listening to the woman, but the woman don't have no accountability.
No, she's definitely a horrible person for doing that.
All right,
but
so
unfortunately,
go back and forth on this. I just want to read that stealthing is an actual thing, and then we're gonna move on to the next question or next nuance of this conversation. So stealthing is non-consensual condom removal, or stealthing is the practice of a man covertly removing or damaging a condom during sexual intercourse when his sex partner has only consented to condom protected sex. Such behavior may be regarded as a sexual assault or rape and is a form of reproductive coercion. So now that we have the actual legal term, we can move on from this topic. We can go on to another part. I don't want to get stuck on this for too long because we're kind of bringing up things that for me kind of are like all over the place. So in essence, Lucky wanted to know how we felt about it and if it was wrong. We gave our opinions. And now that we have the legal definition, it shows that this actually does fall between the lines of a sexual assault and a form of rape and coercion. So
now I read the word may, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Of course you did.
It's there because that's not definitive.
Okay, now moving on. So, all right. So this conversation got brought to light because of a video that Bamadele did. And in the video, he talks about how he made a woman feel uncomfortable, and he reflected on that. Since I originally played that video, a lot of you guys have come on, and I have a lot more new people in the chat. So I want to get back to why we even started this conversation in the first place. I want to get back to the topic at hand and get back to that and have a deeper dive into that specific consensual dynamic of sex and whether, you know, certain situations teeter over the boundary or under the boundary and all that in between. So I'm going to replay the video. Somebody is making noise. Let me mute everybody. Hold on. Let me mute everybody. So I'm going to replay the video and then we're going to get back on a topic. Okay? Because we're kind of veering off to this way, that way, and it's going left. Okay? So let me pull that up for you guys and let me show you guys how this conversation came about. I'm actually going to show you guys both situations. So Bamadele is a part of situation B, right? But I also showed another situation when it comes to consensual sex, and that was situation A. So those of you guys who are just now tuning in, I'm going to play situation A first, and then I'm going to play our guest Bamadele's situation B, and then we're going to get back into that. And then I'm going to take questions as it pertains to that. Okay? So let me share my screen right now for you guys to see this, and we can get back on course. All right. So I posted up a post on my Instagram. If you guys are not on my Instagram, definitely go there now. I know what you're waiting on, okay? And in the post, it says, let's talk about the blurred lines in consensual sex. I have two different scenarios, which are situation A and B. I want to know which is consensual and which is not, or both. Send me a voice note and how you feel, blase, blase. So this is situation A.
These questions though.
ask me for a hug and a hug only. Did I?
But let me just ask you these questions though. Let me ask you a question. Did we have sex? Did we have sex? Yes or no?
No.
Did I ask you to eat your pussy? Yes or no?
Yeah, and that was all.
But you just said we did not have sex, and you just said I asked you to eat your pussy. You just said that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the sexual assault? I asked you to eat your pussy. I ate your pussy, and then and we did not have sex. So where's the sexual assault? Because that's a big allegation for Twitter. That's a big allegation, period.
If uncomfortable.
Okay, I made you uncomfortable, and I apologize for making you uncomfortable. Hold on, I'm sorry. I apologize for making you uncomfortable 1,000 times. But I didn't. When you say a sexual assault, I mean I asked you for permission to eat your pussy, and you said yes.
And that's all, though.
And that's all that happened. You just said we. Look, I want to touch on a few points. The details don't matter because I asked her, "Can I eat her pussy?" and she said yes. We didn't have sex because she did not want to have sex, and I respected that. I put my dick in my pants, and I took her home or to her job, and I went away, and I went on about my business. I understand where everybody's coming from with the. That's what it was, straight up and down. We linked up. I asked for permission to eat her pussy. I ate her pussy. My dick got hard. I wanted to have sex. She did not want to have sex. I respected that, and I said, okay, and I went on about my fucking business. The next day, I called to even check up on her to make sure that she was okay, because the whole time in my mind, I'm thinking that I like this girl, and she thinks all I want to do is fuck. I didn't think that she felt a sexual assault at all. I checked up on her, I made sure of that, and I have text messages also as proof to show that. And that's all I'm saying is I don't want this to be an attack on this young woman. The only place that I'm coming from is I have a character and I'm a stand-up man. I have 3 little sisters and 1 older sister, and I take care of all of them. I have a single mom who had a stroke, and I take care of her too. And I'd be damned if somebody touched them in any kind of way. So I carry myself like such, like a stand-up man, dog. I'm a funny guy. I'm a fashion dude. But when it's that type of shit, I take that shit motherfucking serious. When I asked her for permission, that's not a sexual assault or rape. I understand if you felt uncomfortable for whatever reason that you did, which she expressed to me that she's been raped in the past. So that's not on me. That's not something that I didn't do that, you know? But I understand if it triggered something. But if I asked you for consent, that's not sexual assault. And I was very, very clear with that. And with the women that I have sex with, I make sure they're okay with that. Even if I fucking stick my tongue in their, all I'm saying is if I fucking stick my tongue in their pussy, but no way did my dick touch her vagina. And excuse me for being frustrated about this, man. I didn't mean to even come at her so aggressive. It's just, if you had a false sexual assault allegation on you, you'll be pissed off too. And thank you for everybody that's standing with me again. Thank you for those that are vouching for.
All right. So that was situation A. Now, our guest that we have on the panel is situation B.
I want to talk about a topic today that's rarely ever talked about and rarely even recognized. And I'm going to do so by telling you a story. Back in like 2002, I met this sister, beautiful sister. And at that era of my life, all I wanted to do was have sex with women. So she came over my house one night, didn't give it up. Came over my house the second night, didn't give it up. The third night she's coming over, I said, look, man, I'm going to get this box however I got to get it. So when she get there, I'm badgering her and I'm pulling on her panties and I'm doing what some men do when they're trying to be aggressive to have sex with a woman or get her to say yes. And I'll never forget her response. She was like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay. And I didn't think twice about it until she didn't answer my phone calls after that. I'm like, damn, why ain't she answering my phone calls? And then I remember her response and I asked myself, did I rape her? And I was talking to a friend of mine last night and she was talking about how this has happened to her multiple times and to some women that she knew where men are so aggressive that the women feel like they're going to be raped. So in order to protect themselves from being raped, they consent to a sex that they don't even want to have, which is why I'm calling it consensual rape Yes, the women said yes, but they only said yes out of fear. So as men, I understand there's times when we feel like no may mean yes, but we got to take the first no as a no. We can't be so bent on sexually abusing our women that we badger them to the point where they feel like they're going to rape, or that we're going to rape them, so they just give it up. And to the sister this happened to with me years ago, if you're watching, I apologize. I did not know what it was I really was doing at that time, but now that I'm conscious of it, I have to speak out. And ladies, if this has happened to you, you need to speak out and speak loud, because our women need to be protected.
Okay, so that is the basis of this conversation. I'm going to, Lucky, I'm gonna take you down, and I'm gonna bring some new people in to weigh in on the topic. Santa, I'm gonna have you come back after a while. I'm gonna bring some more people in, okay? Let's see. I didn't hear from Nunu Sky. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm gonna tell you guys when to come back. Let's see. So I'm gonna leave you guys on. Go ahead. Anybody want to chime in on that?
Okay, so what's consensual rape? You on mute.
Oh shoot. Am I unmuted now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that was something I came up with. One of the things I do as a writer, as a counselor, I like to define things so people can understand them and see things that they might not see in the first place. So I coined it consensual rape, so men can see that, all right, she can have consented to something that she didn't want to do. So we can look at some of the behaviors that we exhibit as some things that we should not be doing as men. So I coupled it with rape, so we can look at behaviors and say that these behaviors are behaviors that we should not act on. And because if I don't put the rape on it, guys are going to look at it like, nah, it's cool. She said yes, it don't matter. So I wanted men to have introspection and look at the yeses. Were the yeses caused by your aggressiveness? Now, oftentimes we don't recognize when the woman is looking at us and thinking that we're going to rape her. That woman that I talked about, I was not going to rape her. I will never rape a woman. But how I made her feel, I don't know.
So what do you think? What do you think you were doing when you were tugging on her panties and you made it up in your mind?
So I wasn't okay. So I wasn't ripping her panties off. First of all, she's in my.
Off of what you said. You said I was tugging at her panties.
But I said tugging. So, but I want to explain. I'm not talking about. I'm ripping her panties off. First of all, she's in my bed with panties on. Again, not trying to justify the action, but I got my finger on the panties and I'm pulling it. Just so slightly, just pulling the panties.
I'm gonna pause you. So you guys were in a situation to where she's at your house.
Yes.
And how did her pants come off if you felt like
she took them off willingly? I didn't even ask her to. She got in the bed. She took the panties and she took her clothes off and got in the bed. I didn't even ask her to.
Okay.
So my question is, if your daughter or your niece came home and something happened to them and they felt as though somebody took advantage of them and they went to court and the boy, the plaintiff that she's accusing of doing something to her, stood there defending himself saying, no, this was consensual rape, the term that you literally coined, which literally, for me, it definitely sounds like we're glamorizing that word and making it okay. It's very tacky. Like, I get it. You're a wordsmith. I can hear that you're good with words. But how would you feel about somebody defending themselves against your daughter or your niece by saying, I didn't forcefully take nothing from her. This was consensual rape. How would you feel?
So hold on, man. First of all, I did not have to make that video.
I never said you did.
Okay. But your question is coming from a false premise. I made the video.
It's a hypothetical premise. It's not false at all. I'm asking you a question, putting you in the shoes, because for you to be saying consensual rape, it's as if you coined it and you're saying you coined it. So if you were on the other side of that, if you had a family member who was going through something, you admit that a prostitute can be raped, right? So that means that somebody related to you can also be raped or sexually abused.
Yes.
So my question is, if it was the other way around and it was somebody else using the term consensual rape and not you against your loved one, how would that make you feel?
This is the thing. I'm not using the term to justify anything.
I didn't say you were. It's a simple question.
No, but you are. No,
question.
you are. You're asking me how I would feel if somebody used consensual rape as a justification. I did not use consensual rape as a justification.
To explain it. You created this term and you said why you created this term, and you feel like this term exists because it explains something that you're going through or a term that you feel like exists. So if you feel like consensual rape is a thing, you coined it. You made this shit up. You said it yourself.
Yes.
So if you feel like it's a thing and you made it up, how would you feel if somebody was standing on the definition that you had created on the word? This is a very simple question.
So why did I create it? I created it to get men to stop.
That's not the question. The question is how would you feel if someone was going with consensual rape? Again, if you made it, it exists and it's a thing. You can't just answer the question and you keep dancing around to other things.
I'm not dancing around the question.
Let him answer.
I'm not dancing around the question. Your question, again, is still based on a false premise. Your question is based on the premise that me making the term is some kind of justification. The reason I made the term was to make men recognize when some of their behaviors is wrong. So now, if somebody wanted to use that term to justify what they did to my daughter, I would say it's wrong the same way that I'm saying what I did was wrong. It's something that I should not have done. So I did not create the term in order to make rape less or in order to justify my behaviors. I made the term so men can see that behaviors that they might think is okay are not okay to Black women. That's the reason why I made the term. So it's not about me using anything to justify it or somebody else standing on the term to justify their behaviors, because I was not trying to justify anything. In fact, in the video, I apologized.
Yeah, consensual rape, sounds it's like consensual molestation. Wrong, is wrong. So when you put the word in front of it, especially because it's a new term that you made, it just, that's all. But I'm glad that you answered my question. I'm glad
because she said yes. That's what I'm saying. The term consensual is because she said yes. So what I'm trying to get men to recognize is you might be in a situation where a woman articulated and consented to sex, but she really didn't want to have it. So this is not me in any way, and I don't even know how you can watch the video, hear my tone, hear my apology, hear my reason for making the video, and then think somehow that I'm
reason for making the video. I think she's going off of the word and being consensual and rape grouped together. I think.
But I'm saying if a woman says yes, that's consent. Correct?
Yeah, technically.
It's two different things. Consensual sex is not rape. I think you were trying to do a catch, so you put the two together for the video.
Yeah, because sometimes, but the thing is, every yes doesn't mean yes, but we don't understand that sometimes. We don't know. So my thing was, I want men to recognize, all right, you shouldn't act certain ways, and you should look at your behavior as something that you shouldn't act on. Yes, she consented, and when she said yes, all a man going to go on is, well, she said yes. But what I'm saying is, listen, brother, sometimes the yes is because of how you made her feel unknowingly or unintentionally. It's not me trying to justify anything. And if you know anything about me, if you know anything about my history, if you know anything about the fight and the way I'm on the front line and I stand up for Black women, you would know I would never try to justify anything like that, ever. That's
why I say we should read the room. That's why I say we should read the room, though, and read body language as well, and not just go on wordplay. Because again, like she can say yes all day, but if her body language is saying something else, you shouldn't continuously pulling or tugging on her or any woman. So that's why I say body language is
the word. The actual definition seems to fall in line under sexual coercion. So if you look up sexual coercion, it says by definition, it's the act of using pressure, alcohol, or drugs of force to have sexual contact with someone against his or her will, and it includes persistent attempts to have sexual conduct with someone who has already refused.
And that's why I have a problem with the first video as well, because my man, he's coercing her what to say, and he probably coerced her into eating her boxes as well. How many times he probably badgered her into her saying yes as well. And the way and how aggressive he sounded, it definitely sounded like he definitely violated her as well.
All right, Mrs. Unbreakable, is there something that you wanted to ask?
Yes. Well, I want to speak on the whole scenario. So
I
for
can't.
me,
Every time somebody new come on, I can't hear them.
can y'all hear me?
I
Yeah, I
heard
can hear.
hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So for situation A, just by listening to that little clip, I feel like that was consensual. Now, if in the process if he was eating her out and then she said no and he didn't stop, then I would say that then that would be considered rape. So with the situation B, in my opinion, I feel like that was rape based on the story because he basically pressured her, pulling on her, being aggressive, and then from the part that I heard, she said, do you really want to do this?" She didn't say, "Yes, I want to do this." She asked you because she was scared. So I feel like that was rape in my opinion.
I won't disagree with that. Again, I'm not trying to justify anything.
Aggressive, and she probably feel like you was
Yes.
gonna do it anyway.
Right.
And that was my
But
point.
that's what I said about the first video.
Yeah.
My point was because I was talking to, I have very close women friends, and I was talking to them, and friend was telling me about a situation that happened to her on multiple times. And so I thought about, is there a time that I've ever done this? And I said, damn, I did this like 2001, 2002. I can remember that. All right, I'm going to use my platform in order for me to speak out on a topic that I had never heard discussed before until I talked to her. But since I want to protect Black women, I threw myself on the altar. I put out there, I got called rapist, I got called all kinds of names because I wanted to have a dialogue where we can start to think about things differently and protect Black women. So to be accosted like I'm trying to justify it is problematic to me because my whole reasoning for making the video and putting it out there to my following, which is large, is to have conversations so brothers can know it's certain things that we should not do.
Okay,
because
so
nobody had that conversation with me before.
Okay, so let's have that conversation. What are things that you feel? Okay, so we get that. Your purpose and your intent was to let brothers know what they should do in these situations, but I haven't heard you in this whole live tell us what brothers should do in these situations.
I said it in the video. The first no, that's it. Leave it alone. I said that in the video. That's it. If she says no, no more. Don't ask her again. Don't try to persuade her because persuasion can turn into coercion. The first no, you let it go. I said that in the video.
Situation, did the girl say no at first?
The girl said no, yes, in the beginning, yes.
I think everybody needs to learn how to control their behavior because at the end of the day, like just because you want to do something doesn't mean that the other person want to do it. And how our society is, a lot of ways, like if you look at our culture and hip hop and stuff, it makes it as if a woman is supposed to, like listen to a man and the man is supposed to dominate a woman.
Yes.
So the ones like certain women like that are like speak their mind and something we consider more masculine and not feminine and things like that. So it's like at the end of the day, we got to have respect and you got to look at it as like, okay, if this was your mother or your sister, how would you feel?
And I agree with you 100%. And again, that's why I made the video. Because oftentimes, if the woman is speaking out, she's just bitter, she's just hurt, she just regrets what she did. So it's different when a Black man comes up and initiates the conversation. And that's why I did it. Because I know if you did it, then bros be like, nah, she said yes, I ain't trying to hear that. But I'd rather them argue with me or understand from me than try to argue with you. And that's why I did the video.
But do you think you did the best job being responsible with creating the term like consensual sex? Like think about 12, 14-year-olds who are just coming into puberty, just coming into themselves. Do you think you did the best job really educating people or creating a campaign or a hashtag being created called consensual rape? Do you look back on it right now? If you would if you do it all over again, would you do it exactly the same or would you go a little bit further or maybe do a couple of more posts to help people understand exactly what you mean? Because I just feel like you left a big hole.
So yes, I would do it exactly the same, but so you asked, would I do more posts? I did more posts. I did a post right after that called "How Netflix and Chill Leads to Rape."
No. I'm talking about the term itself, consensual rape. Because what will happen is sometimes 14-year-olds who literally just learned what sex was yesterday, or 13-year-olds will hear No, I had sex with her, but that was consensual rape. So I'm saying, as a person creating a new term, and you feel like you were taking control and making it mean something different, do you feel like you really put in enough effort to help people understand? Because your story is big. Like, this situation is so multifaceted. So you just throwing the term consensual rape in there without really helping people understand that you're trying to do something different, that you're not glamorizing it, and that really consensual rape doesn't mean somebody can say yes, and you know what I mean? You feel like you did the best job, creating that knowledge to that term that you made?
How could you listen to my video and think I was glamorizing it?
I never said I thought you were glamorizing it. What did I say? Because we're grown. All of us on this panel are, I don't know, I believe we're all old enough to drink at least.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is being responsible enough about creating a term like consensual rape and throwing that vocabulary out into the stratosphere when you're talking about creating a dialogue where it's not just people 25 and older having sex. People start having sex as young as 11, 12, and 13. So with teenagers grabbing a hold of new terminology and having sex for a 12-year-old might, who knows if that little boy know how to control himself, or a little urge come over him. And he's heard consensual sex online all the time. And there's no real discussion really going in. A 20-minute video, a 10-minute video, a 5-minute video only talking about that, or creating a campaign or awareness about how you're taking it back and you're really saying that it's not okay, even though the term lends itself to sounding like it is. When you think about consensual rape, that's all.
I mean, I don't understand how the word rape makes it feel okay. So I think I would have done this exactly the same.
Term? Yeah, which term would be?
I think the terminology
would be okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What would you classify this as?
Terminology kind of like mentally made it acceptable for you, so it wouldn't make it seem like that you actually raped someone. So you put that term in there to help you mentally think that.
No.
Okay.
My reason for putting consensual rape.
Someone says, if she said no and didn't want to have him chase her, why did he take her pants off and get in the bed? Why did she take her pants off and get in the bed with him on 2 previous occasions?
That don't necessarily mean that she want to have sex with him, though. I mean, I've gotten to bed with women as well, and we ain't have sex. That don't mean I just hate it.
She did.
That don't mean nothing.
You shouldn't be taking your pants off in the bed with a man that you don't want to fuck.
True.
That's no. To me, that's
true. But that's like saying you shouldn't wear skimpy clothes if you don't want to get raped.
That is not the same. That is not the same. That is not the same. If you get in the bed with a man, a sexually active man that is interested in you, and you getting in the bed with him, no, that's not saying that just because we're in the bed together, that means I'm about to have sex with you. But if you get in the bed with him and you take your pants off,
yeah, I'm with you on that, Nick, because I mean, at some point, I think it depends on the maturity of the woman too, because a woman that's confident in herself and she knows she want to get down, it's like, okay, if I'm getting the pants without no drawers and stuff, like if I'm not aggressive or something, but you know I'm trying to have sex. So I mean, that don't make sense to just get in the bed without no underwear. Or maybe they could have been scared.
I'm not sure if y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. And then J Love comes on my live every day talking about victim blaming and labeling something victim blaming. That's common sense, and that's manipulation and misleading. I feel like you should not mislead people in cues. Just like we're talking about pay attention to body language, there are things that women do that will signal a guy to think that something is okay. Does that say, hey, come fuck me? No, but that is a cue that makes a guy think that you are ready. Period. That's in mixed signals. And if you don't understand what mixed signals is and what misleading is, then you need to look up another definition, because victim shaming is not it. And I need you to expand your victim shaming, because it's simply not it. Period.
No, it ain't victim.
Y'all get on my nerves with this victim blaming word. I really wish y'all would learn something else. And y'all really wish the word that I need y'all.
No, I think sometimes when people get triggered, that's the best thing that they could throw out.
No, we living in a society that's softer now. Everything is hate speech or victim blaming or whatever.
I mean,
You
I
can't
don't,
say
I
you
wouldn't
can't
even
you
say
can't say
it's
anything.
soft. I think people like to be offended. People take the effort to be
Right.
professionally offended. So if they go in
No,
the
I
area
think
that they
people
don't
throw it out
like,
to trigger you.
that well, they can throw it out the trigger. But imagine like somebody keep coming back to the same place every day that they feel like is negative. You want to be offended over here. Why would you keep coming over
Right.
here every day if you feel like
Right.
this ain't the vibe or the energy for you? You want to be
Right.
professionally offended. Take your ass somewhere where you enjoy the vibe. It's simple.
Right. Right.
Somebody's
And I think
clicking.
sometimes you gotta use discernment with stuff like, I mean, maybe with the younger kids they still like learning, but when you get a certain age,
Exactly.
and I'm not saying that like you can blame one party or whatever, but it's certain things that you should just have discernment. For example, if I'm for example, this happened to me. So I'm out of town, and me and my friends, some dudes try to talk to us, and they like the club ended. It's 2:30, so they like y'all want to come to our hotel. I'm like, for what? They like to chill and watch a movie. I said, who the hell are watching movies at 2:30 in the night? You
At
trying to
2:30
fuck,
in the
and I'm
morning.
not trying to fuck. Like, but if I would have went, I mean, I'm kind of put, in my opinion, I'm still putting myself in the situation. Like, who the hell I'm watching some movies with some motherfuckers I don't know at 2:30 at night? Like, we can't put
Right.
ourselves in situations, and some people may get scared, but it's like if you could prevent a situation, then why not? But then in some ways too, we still have to learn how to control our hormones as individuals on both ends.
I'm not about victim shaming. I feel like people should never be taking things that aren't theirs. But I do feel like at a certain point, you have to realize carrying yourself in a certain way could possibly prevent certain
Right.
things. For example, if I just
Yeah,
left the bank and
definitely.
I just withdrew $800 and I walk out with the $800 glued to the top of my head, if somebody steals it, was I setting
Mm-hmm.
myself up or was I asking for it? Or could I have done some things like put that shit in my pocket to avoid a
Right.
situation like that? And if
Right.
somebody steals it, and the first question somebody says, well, why were you carrying that money out?
You're
Or
victim blaming. You're victim shaming.
like, no, there are several things you can do to prevent yourself. Now, granted, some people can still take stuff and you haven't done anything to ask for anything. But as an adult, you have to stop putting yourself in situations that make you more
Right.
subjective and vulnerable to the
Right.
terrible stuff out here, whether it be somebody stealing money, coochie, or your energy, or just a positive spirit. Just use common sense. Come on.
Right. That's what I don't get. But thank you, Miss Unbreakable. I'm gonna bring some more people on. Dominique, let's see. D, is there something that you wanted to add to the conversation? D, is there something input you wanted to add to the conversation?
No, now y'all got off the topic. Y'all got off the topic and I forgot where I was at.
Okay. Is there what was the topic that you wanted to chime in on? Because it only lets me have so many slots open. So if you're only listening, I want to give the slots to people who want to engage and talk.
Well,
What
I felt like both situation A and B was frisky because I didn't in A, I didn't like the way the guy was over talking the girl. It felt like to me like he didn't want her to completely say exactly what happened. So I
Right.
felt like that could have been a situation where she felt pressured into even letting him eat her box because he kept over talking her. And then there was a
Right.
couple of parts in it where if I felt like he cut out what she was saying, where it kind of stopped and it made a click sound twice. Where I feel like he cut out what she was saying because he didn't want everything out there. That was for the situation. For situation B, I felt like the girl probably was felt pressured into doing it, which is why she didn't call him back or answer any more of his calls. So she made, I don't know if I necessarily consider it rape, but I definitely feel like she probably felt like she was violated because she clearly didn't want to do it. And I don't think he read her mood correctly or he just didn't care about her mood and he wanted it anyway because he said he went into it saying that he was going to get it. So he didn't care that she really didn't want to. So she may have felt like she was raped.
Okay.
I don't
No
know if y'all can hear
disagreement.
me.
We
No, we
can.
definitely hear. There's no
Yeah, because
disagreement. And
she felt pressured enough to say, "Is this what you really want to do?" That should have been a clue that she really didn't want to. To
But my
me,
question also too is like people claim it's victim shaming, but you do wonder like if what he said, well, we can only go off of his accounts because we don't have her. If his accounts of the situation
right?
is correct, that he's relaying to us that she was in the bed and she had her pants off, you do have to wonder why would a person put themselves in that situation if they don't want to have sex. And us as women have to realize
Exactly.
that we don't need to put ourselves in those
That you
types of
can't put yourself in situations. Exactly. I've been in a number of situations that I thought, wait, wow, why did I put myself in that situation? But for me, mine was different because the guy invited me over for dinner. And I guess stupidly, I said yes. I was 19. I'm 45 now. I said yes. And when he asked for sex, I clearly said no. And I got up to leave. And we fought for a good 20 minutes. I made it to the door twice, tried to unlock the door, couldn't get it. And he even called me the next day. And I don't know if he was playing crazy or he really didn't realize what he had done. But he was like calling to set up another date. And I'm like, nigga, do you know what you just did? And he's like, what did I do? And I'm like, you raped me. And he's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, we fought for like 20 minutes. I tried to unlock the door twice. And he's like, but I thought that's what you wanted. And I'm like, so the
oh,
no,
wait.
you didn't
There was
get that
sex
part.
happening. I thought you got away from him before the sex happened. Wait, he entered you? I'm lost somewhere.
No, this was right. No, he asked for sex. I said no.
But
So
you
I
just
got
said he
up to
raped you,
try
so
to
I'm like, is
leave.
there sex? I'm missing the sex part of it.
Right,
the
he
rape
did.
part
And
was the
while
sex.
we fought, I made it to the door. He grabbed me back, dragged me back into his bedroom. We fought more. I made it to the door again. I still couldn't get the door unlocked. He grabbed me, dragged me back to his room, pinned me down, and then raped me. And
Okay, you
then
left that
called me the
part out.
next day.
The sex part was left out. That's why I was confused. I'm like, how did it go
No,
from
he did. After he got grabbed me back the second time and dragged me back into his room, he pinned me down and raped me, and then called me the next day. I guess pretending like he didn't realize what he did. I'm like, how dare you call me? Do you know what you did to me? And he's like, he didn't do anything.
yeah.
So I put myself in a situation by going to dinner, but I didn't consent to what he did. And I
Right.
didn't feel initially, I didn't feel pressured. When he asked me, I said no, and I'm going home. And then that started the fight. Like he didn't want me to leave. We physically fought.
Yeah,
And I
that's
made
terrible.
it to the door
When you
twice.
first
And
had
each time he grabbed me back.
when you
I
first
got something to say.
said it, that's why I was kind of confused. But that's absolutely terrible. Like if you go somewhere and you say no and somebody just still takes it, that's absolutely terrible. So I'm sorry that happened to you. Queen Goddess, you say
Some
you have
guys can be forceful with their words, and some can be more forceful with their bodies. But I think for the woman that he was with, I'm not sure if she wanted it. You said now she was in the bed with the pants off. That's confusing to me. If she didn't want it, why did she take her pants off and get in the bed?
Okay, so here's the
That's
thing.
crazy. I
I
would
don't
never
think
take
you
my
put
pants off
yourself
and get
in
in
a
the bed with
situation.
somebody I don't want to have
I think
sex
you
with.
went to I think that you went on a date and you were hanging out with somebody and they act like they could not control themselves. So when there is a crime that is wrongfully acted upon a person and you're partially adding fault to that person, as in them being at fault, like if you're
Hmm.
chilling with somebody, so say if I call Bama Deli and I say, Bama Deli, we coming over to Netflix and chill. I'm not about to get in this man bed with all my clothes on. And even if I do have my panties on, I still told this fool it's a no.
So trying to say that a victim is part or at fault for a crime that comes against them is victim shaming. Period. Point blank. I don't care if she was butt
I
naked in
don't
the
think that. No, I don't
No.
think that is that cut and
a wife
dry.
can be butt naked with her husband. If her husband penetrates her, she says no. It means no, and that's it, and that's all. And point blank. Period.
Fault and
No,
accountability
I
are two
get what
different
you're where you're coming from, but right. I
She still
think
got to
I
take
know where you're
accountability.
coming from and I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying, what I think everybody is
What you mean
saying
take
is don't
accountability?
put yourself
I'm
in
laying in my bed and I'm
situations
chilling. I'm
like
watching a
that.
movie. What is you talking
You're
about?
laying
You
in
need to
his
hold
bed.
accountability for your actions.
Right.
So
And he
can
did,
I
but
speak?
go ahead, bro.
So I have again, as I said earlier, I have a 16-year-old daughter who's going to be going off to college in another year. I don't think there's no excuse for guys gang raping any child, right, or any woman. If my daughter decides to go to a frat
Hmm.
party and drink herself unconscious and she gets gang raped, again, I'm not excusing anything that the men did. But I'm going to have a conversation with my daughter about not drinking yourself unconscious at a frat party. That's not victim blaming. To talk about what you can do better. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to want to kill the world over my daughter. It's my baby girl. But I can't just say to her, well, guys aren't supposed to rape. So go ahead to the next frat party and drink yourself unconscious, and they're not
Right.
supposed to rape you. That's
Right.
ignorant. I would be a bad father if I did not speak to her about the
Exactly.
accountability that she should have when it comes to protecting herself. And I'm not victim shaming my daughter, whom I love with all of my heart.
Right.
People misuse this victim blaming, victim shaming word. They overabuse it. And there are women who feel like there are women who feel like women could make a man be the punching bag. They feel like a woman could go sock a dude square in the face and
And he don't
pick
do
up a
nothing.
and hit him down. And they feel like the woman, at the moment that the guy reacts to it, the guy is wrong. Like there are literally women in this world who feel like there is no possible way a woman could be wrong. And I just feel like we all have to be accountable for the part that we play in certain situations. Now, if I go into a 7-Eleven right now, right? Say I go into a 7-Eleven and I do a walk-in where I go grab a beer and I intend to walk out and steal that beer. Would the 7-Eleven person be wrong to shoot me dead for stealing their property? They would be wrong. Like we would look at it like we're wrong, but then I would also be accountable for what I did also.
Right.
Like people always try to eliminate
Exactly.
the part that people play and how certain situations lead up to where they are. Could somebody be more wrong than the other? Like if you shoot me, you're definitely more wrong than me, probably because it's in essence the beer probably only costs $2. Is it worth my life? No, but we have to understand how certain situations lead to where they are, and it seems like people are making a not so what shouldn't be so complicated, very complicated and complex. Like it should be clear.
Right.
Hmm. I think what they're doing is they're taking people who say be cautious as victim shaming. But I
Yes.
think if you know that certain things can happen and you do them anyway, that means that you didn't take precaution and you do have a little bit of yourself to blame for that situation. It's like if there's an alley around the corner from you and you know it's always popping, crime's always happening and something is always happening, and you decide to walk down that same alley in the middle of the night with a dress only covering half your butt and something happened, it's like, yeah, you do have to hold yourself a little bit accountable because you knew what was happening in that alley and you chose to go there in the middle of the night alone, half dressed. You have some accountability for that too. But I think people are calling that victim shaming or victim blaming when you're just trying to tell people to be cautious with the decisions that they make, period.
I think it depends on your
It's not the
intent.
same as blaming the victim and saying it's all the victim's fault.
I think it depends on like your intent. So if you just hear a story, right, and it's like, oh well, a
No,
girl
I
got
think it's how people.
raped, you know,
Let
if
her
you just
finish.
feel
Let
like
her
a girl
finish.
got raped and someone says, well, what she had on? Well, then she shouldn't have had that on, or what the fuck was she doing out there? If those are your first line of questions and you can hear the lack of empathy, if that, you know, that's an afterthought. Your daughter come home and something happened. The first thing is, let's make sure you safe. Let's make sure you okay. It's not time to beat up on you when it's time for you to go to the ER, get a kit done, and all that other stuff. But if you're trying to beat down on somebody instead of really giving them criticism that help them and other people to not be in that situation,
That's
then
right, but that's not what they're responding to.
no, but I'm saying sometimes victim shaming, sometimes people have good intent, but it comes off
But
wrong.
that's not what they're responding to, because I've never heard Neek say something to that effect. What she's trying to say is that if you know that certain things are prone to happen, don't put yourself in that situation. And people are mistaking that for blaming the victim. And it's not, absolutely not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. So I guess we all can give our final thoughts on the topic. We reached 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I feel like we've kind of ran in circles a lot. So in final thought, I guess, Bamadele, what is something that you want to leave us knowing or with on this topic?
Well, my final thoughts is just like I was ending the video with. Brothers, we have to stop being aggressive. I don't care what you've been taught or what you've been used to, or even what your encounters have been, because I talked about it, and Dominique also talked about having encounters where women was like, why weren't you more aggressive? Like, it doesn't matter what your experience has been. If a woman says no, you have to leave it right there. No pressuring, no coercing, no persuasion. If she says no, you just have to leave it alone from there. And for women to speak out. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And I tell you
clearly.
There could definitely be some times. I can't be definitive all the way around the board. There could definitely be some times where you can tell a guy no, and he might not want to hear the no, and he might want to forcefully rape you. But there's a lot of guys like myself that if you just say no, I'm uncomfortable, we will just stop. So just go ahead and let the brother know, listen, I'm a little uncomfortable. Because if the woman would have said to me, I'm uncomfortable, I literally would have stopped. But she never said that.
So was she having sex back? Was she fucking back?
Honestly, this was 19, 20 years ago. I can't remember.
I mean, but if you remember that she was tugging on her panties, you should be able to remember.
I remember certain things because it was that one
this
thing.
This was a big incident that made you self-reflect. So I think that's something that you would know if she was fucking back or not.
That wasn't what bothered me. What bothered me was what she said. So certain things stick with you, certain things don't. So the fact that
we need her up in here.
Is this what you really want to do? Like later on, like that spoke to me. So that was something that I remember.
So you don't remember you guys' sexual intercourse interaction? Like you remember that you tugged on her panties, but you don't remember if she was active and engaging?
No, that's not something that stuck with me. It's not something that stuck with me. Again, I have no reason.
And I also think that the two situations that he spoke about are different.
No, we talking about
with the women.
No, we're talking about
right, but you mentioned right, but he mentioned where guys say that the woman said that they weren't aggressive enough. That was already during the act. What we was more pertaining to is the before you got the yes, the pressure that was put on before you got the yes, not the aggression that you displayed before the yes, not during sex.
No. I was talking specifically
about.
No,
I'm saying with him because he's equating the two.
Can I ask him something?
Yes.
What was the woman's reason for asking you, is this what you really want to do?
I have no idea. I never asked her what her reasoning was.
But how if you didn't know,
because
and I'm not
being aggressive.
No, I got a question.
I don't mind if you are judging me.
Let me just ask, if you didn't know why she asked that, how would you come to a conclusion that she felt raped?
Moral.
Are you finished with the question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to rationalize it.
Okay, so again, so like, if you listen to the video. I was having a conversation with a woman friend of mine who was telling
you had
me
the conversation.
a few situations where a guy was being aggressive with her, and she told me, I had sex with him because I thought he was going to rape me. And as I'm having a conversation with her, I began to reflect on life and think, have I ever been in a situation where I did that? And so I went back to 2001 and I remembered that question. Is this what you really want to do? Yes. Okay. And I'm like, maybe I did do what you say happened to you. And that prompted me to do the video so I can have that dialogue. So I don't know if she felt that way. I have no idea if she really felt that way or not. I just know my friend felt that way. I just know her friends felt that way. And from the response I got from my initial video, there are a bunch of women who felt that way. So I felt like it was my job as a man to speak on it.
All right. Infinity, what's your final thoughts on the topic?
I mean, my final thoughts on the topic of A was I think he was overreacting, and I don't think he told the total truth about what happened. I think the woman he was with probably expected more from him versus sex, and when she got,
not so much what you think about situation A and B, just overall whole nuance of this consensual conversation. What are the final thoughts that you want to leave?
Final thoughts. I just tell people, give advice to people to only have sex with who you really like. That's my final thoughts.
All right, Dominique, what's your final thoughts you want to add?
My final thoughts is the same. Still, you need to read the room. Although she might be verbally saying one thing, it could be her body language is telling you something else. Read the room. And and if her body language is off, don't continue to pursue on your hormones, and don't take advantage of that woman. That's my thoughts.
All right, Plains Jane, what's your final thoughts?
For younger women, I just think, just like I think Infinity said, we should take more time to think. If you're living real fast from day to day and you're not unpacking how you feel, you might not know if you really want to have sex with these people. You get horny sometimes, you get lonely sometimes, and you fuck somebody and you realize you might not have wanted to. You realize you said no 3 times last night. You may not remember it until today because you just from day to day, and you got an overnight bag for this house this week and an overnight bag. If you slow down and really just masturbate and busting it by yourself, it might alleviate some of the pointless sex that you be having out here and the confusing situations that you end up in when you just out here in your emotions and not really being logical. And it's very easy when you're in your 20s or you're just coming to your sexuality. So I just think the more we think, we can alleviate some of these situations. That's all.
All right, D.
For me,
I think that people should get more comfortable with sex before they even start having sex and avoid all of this. Because if you can have a conversation with someone comfortably, then you could avoid all these situations. Maybe people are having sex too early.
All right, Nita.
Because you got to be comfortable with it or you won't know what's right for you.
Yeah, that's facts. Nita?
I think that accountability is the key. I think that people have to be accountable on both sides. I think women have to know, whether or not they're comfortable or not. And if they say no, the man has to know that no means no. But you can't be misleading because some women like to play mental mind games. Some women like to tease. So if you don't want to be in that space with that individual, then you should not put yourself in that situation. Like, for instance, in the situation B, she came back day after day after day. If you didn't like him, you shouldn't have been coming back and back and back and already knowing that he wanted something out of the situation. Situation A, if you didn't want him.
Oh, she cut out. I don't know what happened. Zaza?
I just wanted to say to all girls and guys that there is no such thing as consenting to rape. There's no such thing as consensual rape. You cannot consent to be raped. And consent is given freely. So at anytime. If you say yes under manipulation, intimidation, any of that, or under the influence, it is not consent. Just because she laid there, or just because you think you heard a yes, it's not consent. And I think that's important for the men to know, because legally that's not consent. That's
Okay, everybody shout out their Instagrams if you guys want people to follow you. Where can they find you on Instagram? And then we'll wrap. Bamadele.
Well, I'm at BF Nkrumah, BFNKRUMAH. That's on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Fi Infinity.
Wait, say it one more time.
It's
Bamadele? No, Bamadele. Say it one more time. What'd you say?
BF Nkrumah, BFNKRUMAH.
All right, I Infinity.
Fi Infinity.
Huh?
You said, who said huh?
I said huh. What'd you say?
I said Fi Infinity.
Spell it.
FEE and then I Infinity. It's underscore.
Oh, okay. I was like, I Infinity. What the?
Yeah.
It sounded so crazy at first. All right, Dominic.
It's Domigod, DOMIGOD_.
Plainest Jane.
My name is just as it is on the screen. It's kind of long, but it's the plainest Jane on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. That's where I'm at.
D.
I'm D Love on everything.
Okay, Zaza.
Hey Niecy on Instagram, HEYNIECEY.
All right. So I guess we can wrap it there. I guess in closing, I'll just say women need to pay more attention to the situations that they put themselves in. A lot of the situations that happen can be easily avoided. And I think that a lot of girls go around the world thinking very naively, like, oh, well, I should be able to do this, or I should be able to do that. And it's like, in a perfect world, yes, you should be able to do all of these things, but we don't live in a perfect world. People need to stop being naive and putting themselves in certain situations and then wondering why it happened. Like, know that certain things just should not be done. Don't link up with guys, have them eat your box, knowing that you don't want to have sex with them. Yes, there are a lot of guys who will respect that and only eat your box. Yes, you've probably had good experiences, but you will eventually come to know that that is a very compromising situation. So just don't do it at all. Don't go to guys' hotel rooms. Do not be meeting up with guys in their hotel rooms. If they say, oh yeah, I'm in town, I flew in, I'm in your town or whatever, link up at my hotel room. No, don't link up at nobody's hotel room that you don't plan on having sex with. Meet in public places. If you want to hang out and you want to chill and it's in the late hours of the night, make sure it's a group setting. People need to normalize group settings a lot more. Like, if you're in a group setting, it's less likely that things will go awry like they do as they do when it's solo interactions. Also, be very aware in what you're saying and your intentions. If your intentions are not to date this man, don't lead a man on. And I think it's the same for men. If your intentions are not to date a woman, don't lead that woman on. I feel like there is a lot of misleading behavior that we as a culture, as a society engage in. And I think it's whack. I think that we need to be more in a space where we can freely say how we feel. We'll get on the shade room comments. We'll go on the neighborhood talk and we voice our opinion up and down on everybody else's business. We can tell how we feel about this person and this celebrity drama, and we can give our ones and twos and we can read you down the filth. But somehow, some way, when it comes to our own personal business and our own interactions with people in our real life, people suddenly don't know how to communicate, don't know how to tell people how they feel, but have no reason or no issue, not no reason. They have no issue with telling the motherfucker how they feel in the shade room about somebody else's business. I feel like we need to come to a place where we are more vocal in how we feel. We need to stop misleading people. We need to stop putting ourselves in certain situations. Yes, it could be easier said than done, but I feel like that's something that we should work towards. And that's just my final thoughts on the matter. Thank you to everybody who came and joined in on the panel. Thank you, D-Love, for always being a dope-ass moderator. I appreciate you, boo. It does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much for supporting my platform. Thank you all for all of your insights. I appreciate it. And thank you to Bamadele for being a trooper, even though he deflected a lot. But thank you, Bamadele, for being a trooper and, you know, coming on and discussing this topic. Thank you all. Peace. Wait, before I hit the piece, let me address this. Somebody said, I don't like how Neek puts so much responsibility on the women and not nearly enough on the men. I'm a woman. So as a woman, I'm giving women advice. Okay. Now I had men on the panel to give advice on how a man should act. I'm a woman, so I'm going to preach to the woman. As a woman, we are less, we're smaller, and oftentimes we're not as strong as men. Oftentimes we're not all of these things. So being that we are the person who can get dominated in these situations, yes, I need to put more emphasis on women because number one, I'm a woman and I'm speaking to women on what they should and should not do, period.